15 marked units on my property.
Military-styled soldiers pointing an automatic rifle at my head.
Are we becoming a police state?
It may be the Russia other people grew up in, but not my America.
Directed by Dinesh D'Souza, Debbie D'Souza, and Bruce Shuley. Police State sounds the alarm.
What we need is a person, and then we go find out what crime you did.
How did we give the state this kind of power?
Police State. They have their lists. Are you next?
If they're coming for me, they're coming for you.
Police State. Buy it or stream it now at salemnow.com. salemnow.com.
Have a blender in the kitchen? Well, there's a big blender recall.
Federal officials say BlendJet is recalling about 4.8 million of its portable blenders over laceration and fire hazards. That's after receiving dozens of reports of injuries. According to the Consumer Product Safety Commission, BlendJet 2 portable blenders can overheat or catch fire, and their blades can break off while...
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD.
Bill O'Reilly here, and I'm warming up. Stand by for the O'Reilly Update Morning Edition. But first.
I'm Mike Baker, former CIA officer and your host for the President's Daily Brief, the fastest growing podcast in America. Every weekday, we dive into foreign policy, global events, and international crises, delivering the facts and context quickly and with the analysis you won't find anywhere else. In the morning, get the insights you need with the President's Daily Brief. Then, as you head home, catch the PDB Afternoon Bulletin, perfectly timed for your end-of-day commute. Download us now on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
On this Friday, let's take a look at drug abuse in America, which is driving all the crime we are seeing throughout this nation. First, the number of users. It is estimated by the FBI that about 10 million people use pot on a regular basis. 4 million use methamphetamines. 6 million use opioids. Some are prescribed, others bought illegally. The FBI says 1 million Americans are addicted to heroin, 1 million addicted to cocaine. Add it all up, that's 25 million Americans addicted to some kind of narcotic. And now there's a new scourge, fentanyl, is killing thousands. The impact on society is staggering. 25% of all incarcerated criminals say they committed their crimes while high. 47% say they are serving time for drug-related charges. The state of Oregon gave up. It decriminalized hard narcotics, and it's been a disaster. Oregon now has the worst substance abuse problem in America. 12% of Oregonians are addicted. 12%. Drugs are hurting this country badly. Let's be honest and admit that and find some kind of solution. But the politicians look away. Now this. If you thought booking your timeshare was difficult before, you know it's almost impossible now. For more than a decade, Lone Star Transfer has helped thousands of owners legally and permanently get out of their never-ending timeshare fees. Lone Star Transfer guarantees the release of all liability to your timeshare in writing and in a specific time frame. For free, no-obligation consultation, please call 855-551-7066 or go to LoneStarTransfer.com. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
This hour, the Vic Porcelli Show, brought to you by Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor for all your roofing needs. Visit ConnorRoofing.com. That's CONNER Roofing.com. Vic Porcelli.
Come on, you're Italian. You understand.
Every day is a busy day all of a sudden.
You talking to me? You talking to me?
Tough and smart, and I love Italian, so, he's definitely Italian.
At least I have this show to come and talk about it and let some stuff up.
What kind of a show are you guys putting on here today?
The Vic Porcelli Show.
Good morning, my people. Yeah, welcome to the Vic Porcelli Show. No, nothing happened to Vic Porcelli. I'm Tim Jones. Yeah, we shifted. We time shifted everything today. I'm here this morning. Ken, this is like old times.
It really is.
You and I behind the microphones. This is exactly what we used to do on a table like this.
It seems like we've come a very long way with this station like this, though.
Yes.
But we used to do Sunday nights together, and we would stay there till after midnight, just talking.
Seems like a million years ago.
I know.
Yes, it does. Well, we're back together again. No,
yeah, awesome.
I'm also here every Wednesday. You all have the you all are so kind enough to welcome me in every Wednesday morning. So I enjoy doing that hit with all you all.
Oh, we look forward to it, Tim. We always do. We like the transition every Wednesday. We just get a little fired up, and then on Thursday we get even more fired up. And by Friday, we're pretty fired up.
You got your hair on fire. Well, welcome to the Vic Porcelli Show, the special Friday, December 29th, 2023 holiday edition, the last show of the year. That's right.
Yeah.
When Vic's back. Yeah, there you go. Hey, I may have to have you play my theme about 4 or 5 or 7 or 8 times today. Just 'cause I like hearing it.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll try it once at least.
At least once. Jeff Allen's like, stop it. We've got a great show for you here today. I know we have to do the Pledge of Allegiance in just a second, but let me tell you all, we got Larry Connor's Neighborhood coming up at 9:25. Of course, we'll have our weekly sit down with Jay Ashcroft, Missouri Secretary of State. We got a whole host of topics and discussion points with him because the Missouri legislature heads back into session next Wednesday, and Chris and I will be broadcasting once again live from underneath the Capitol Dome. So that'll be exciting.
Yeah, and I think he'll also want to talk about what just happened in Maine and what happened in Colorado, and how it's not going to make any difference come 2024.
I've got a bunch of theories on that, and we will talk about that. Yeah, folks, if you missed that, this was late-breaking news late yesterday. I know many of you are on holiday schedule this week, and you're probably all off kilter and running around helter-skelter. Yesterday, the left-wing liberal lunatics in this country, and they are. We used to do that we used to say that as almost like a term of affection, And maybe back in the day we went a little too far. Now, I think we are completely and utterly descriptive of these people who are trying to destroy our country. Yeah, they're insane.
I don't think we're even going far enough, but we can talk about that later.
Yeah, FCC. So instead, Ken, they were pretending to be lawful and constitutional by having all their leftist courts try and throw Trump off the ballot. Oh, we'll run it through the judiciary. So they pick 7 Democratic judges in Colorado, 3 of whom decided not to go with the decision. I thought that was notable. But Ken, I guess they've gotten tired of that. So now they're just going to have singular bureaucrats decide who can be on people's ballots. So Ken, the Democrats in this country are going to, quote, save democracy by rigging elections. Yeah, that makes sense.
Saving democracy by destroying democracy with lawfare.
Exactly. And so now they're going to have people like secretaries, lawfare.
No, I was going to say the pledge.
I was like, I thought that was like a lawfare thing you guys do.
No.
Like lawfare,
Yeah, like warfare.
That's their new Sieg Heil. All right, without further ado, Ken, I know we have to get to the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yes, we do that every day when we start the show. And Tim, I'd like just to have you and I do it.
Let's kick it off. How about we do it right now? I'm looking at the flag right behind you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God bless America. Ken, do they still do that in public schools? Do you have any idea? Do they do that in some and not others?
I asked my daughters. Now, they're out of high school. One's out of college now. But actually at Central Methodist, before football games, they would do, of course, the national anthem, but they would do prayer, and they would also do the Pledge of Allegiance, which I thought was amazing. In high school, I asked them, did you guys finish up with high school doing that? And they both said, yeah.
You know where I did it every day between January and May for 8 straight years? In the Missouri House of Representatives chamber. And so I always was thinking to myself, why is it that it's become, quote, controversial in the minds of left-wing liberals to do the Pledge of Allegiance in high schools or grade schools when every single day of session, that pledge preceded by a prayer, okay?
Yeah.
We would do call to order. I still remember this. It's been 9 years since I was Speaker of the House, but I remember it like it was yesterday because it was something that I did for 8 straight years. It was call to order, prayer, pledge. Call to order, prayer, pledge. Every single day. And you know what, Ken? Nobody rioted. Nobody protested that. Nobody disputed that. We incorporated some Democrats. There was a few sane ones there when I was there. And mostly we had Monsignor Kerwicki do the prayer, who I get a little Christmas message from every year. He texts me and says Merry Christmas to him. He's one of the archdiocesan priests. He's a Monsignor up in Jefferson City. He's up in the archdiocese up there.
Yeah.
He was our house chaplain. So Monsignor Kerwicki would be there at the beginning of every day. I'd have my little therapy sessions with him. He'd absolve me of my sins, and I'd carry on, And so he would mainly do the prayer, but other times we'd have guest pastors, reverends, preachers, men, women, white, black, and we would mix it up, But every day, call to order, prayer, pledge of allegiance, and nobody had a hissy fit. That is the seat of government in our state. And I bet, Ken, they do that. I know they do it in the Missouri Senate. And I bet they do it in all the other state capitals around the country. So if it's good enough for us, why is it at all controversial for high school and grade school kids?
There was a poll that just came out. It was still 68% of America still believes that Judeo-Christian values are the basis, the foundation of this nation. And so many there's a loud minority of people, Tim, and I'm sure you can elaborate on this, that are just screaming, saying you got to keep this out of the government. That's not what this is about. We were founded on Judeo-Christian values. That's the foundation of this nation.
And the left hates that.
And they hate it, and they're trying to destroy it.
Well, because
little by little.
Because it's the foundation, Ken, that's why they're trying to destroy the foundation.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They are, and what are we talking about? The foundation of everything. They don't like any of it. They don't like the Constitution. They don't like the Electoral College. They don't like our divided form of government. They don't like that we have an executive branch, a Congress that's divided into two parts, and a judicial system. They don't like federalism. They don't, the 50 states, the laboratories of democracy. Ken, they hate all of that. They want a dictator. That's why they like Osama bin Laden. That's why they like Hamas. That's why they like the
Obama.
Iranian. Yeah.
I'm not.
Yes.
I'm
Barack Hussein Obama.
Yeah.
That's why they like the mullahs of Iran. They love. So over here, they claim, well, we want women's rights and we want people who are gay to be free to express themselves. And we want all that too. But how come they say it's just words for them. They say that here, but then they prop up, they perpetuate, and they promote people in other countries that are doing the opposite of that.
They would throw every one of them off the roof if they had a choice.
And worse.
Yeah.
And worse.
Yeah.
And I heard the very end I heard different parts. I was running around the house this morning trying to get ready and get here and all that. And I heard different pieces of Susie and Gabe this morning doing the Mike Ferguson show. And they were talking about some of those subjects as well and how bizarre it is that, young people now are celebrating autocratic, despotic tyrants.
Which surprises me because they're usually trying to be independent. I just saw a video, I think it was either last night or night before last, of a woman going up to a really pretty girl and saying, hey, would you like to try on a burqa? And the girl was like, well, okay. So she tries it on and the lady says, see, this commands more respect for your body, for you as a woman. They're trying to label this. They're trying to repackage a burqa, Tim, in America as being something of virtue.
To make it something desirable.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So, Ken, you know how we always say, and we're correct in when we say that all of our conspiracy theories are always going to come true. The ones where we're questioning the autocrats and the authoritarian forces in our country. Started with COVID, but now it's progressed, hence that. And so I came across a brand new story this week in an email that I get every day. So you guys know Stephen Moore and Dr. Art Laffer and Phil Kerpen, and we've had all those awesome individuals and prognosticators on these airwaves here at Newstalk STL, and you had several of them on the Vic Porcelli Show. Well, they run an organization that they started during COVID to push back against all the insanity and the craziness. It's called the Committee to Unleash Prosperity.
Right.
And they send out a hotline email every day, and it's got some of the best 4 or 5 stories in it.
I received that.
You get that. Okay.
Yeah.
So yesterday or the day before, there was a story from one of these eggheads at the National Institutes of Health who is basically retracting, not necessarily retracting, but basically walking back a lot of the insanity that they promoted over the last many years. And he was basically saying, scientists and healthcare workers, of course, we get tunnel vision, and we think we have to save every single life. And so if there's anything we can do to save one life, we put on the blinders, and that's important, and you should want to do that. But what if by saving one life, you're destroying tens of thousands of others? Sometimes you have to make judgment calls. That sucks. That's horrible. But
that's murder.
He's basically saying we made the wrong judgment calls. And in retrospect, in our desire to force things on people that we probably shouldn't have forced on them, we created more damage to the economy, to people's lives, and to our children than we should have. You and I and Vic said those exact same words back in 2021, and we were called crazed, lunatic murderers.
I was yelled at in a fast food restaurant for not wearing a mask, and I had to square off with somebody and debate them in front of all these people, and he ended up walking out cussing me. But that's fine. I didn't care about that. I told him my point of view. Now, we talk about what happened back then and how much of a tyrant many of these people were, Tim. What they're trying to do right now, they're trying to float that amnesty balloon right now.
Mm-hmm.
People are not ready for that. They're not going to put up with that. They're not going to allow these people that did all these tyrannical things to us earlier and say, well, we're sorry. We just want you all to just understand that we need amnesty.
They want us
now.
all to forgive them.
It's not going to happen.
And they're trying to transpose those authoritarian dictates that they were able to force down upon people through COVID. They're trying to transpose that to other subject matters.
Everything.
They're like, well, it worked with COVID.
Yep.
So we'll now do it for climate change.
Yes, sir.
Or we'll now do it for illegal immigration. Or we'll now do it to destroy our Constitution. And people, thankfully, aren't buying it. The headline in the Unleash Prosperity hotline is this: former NIH director, of course he's former now, so now he can tell the truth.
Sure.
Former NIH director, National Institutes of Health, comes clean on COVID lockdowns. Quote, we attached zero value to whether this disrupts lives and kills the economy. So there you have it. There you have it. Here's a little bit more of the quote. As a guy living inside the Beltway, that's Washington, D.C., feeling a sense of crisis, trying to decide what to do in some situation room in the White House with people who had data that was incomplete. Okay, so now they're admitting, Ken, the data was incomplete.
Yeah.
Something they would not admit earlier.
Which we knew originally. I
Yes.
mean, we took from day one, we talked about, wait a minute, all the data's not there. What are you doing? Yeah.
We weren't really thinking about what that would mean to Bob and his family in Minnesota, 1,000 miles away from where the virus was hitting so hard. They're admitting that the virus hit parts of the country harder than in other parts. Another thing that we tried to explain, but no, they wanted one size fits all. If you're on a cattle ranch, if you're the Duttons and you're at Yellowstone and you're in Montana and the only thing you see every day is a herd of cows and not people, then you need to wear a mask. Well, it made no sense, but they wanted us to do that. Everybody had to do the same because that's what you do in the Borg.
Oh, yeah. And if you go back to, let's go back, rewind a little bit to when Trump was president. They were saying that he's killing millions of people with COVID. But you know what's funny about that, Tim? That year, there were no cases of flu.
Uh-huh.
It went from millions of flu cases to none, and then millions of COVID to no flu cases. That is maybe something to investigate.
And look what's happening now. Another thing that we predicted was come true. When we would all lock ourselves up for 2 or 3 years and then everybody gets back out, now we're going to suffer from all the things that we hadn't suffered. Now all the RSV is back and all the other respiratory diseases, and they don't want to admit that that's their cause. Listen to this bombshell statement. We weren't really considering the consequences in communities that were not New York City or some other big city. Another thing that we said. The public health people, we talked about this earlier. If you're a public health person, you're trying to make a decision. You have this very narrow view of what the right decision is. And that is something that will save a life. It doesn't matter what else happens. So you attach infinite value to stopping the disease and saving a life. You attach zero value to whether this actually totally disrupts people's lives, ruins the economy, and has many kids kept out of school in a way that they have never quite recovered from to this very day. That is the public health mindset. And I think a lot of us involved in trying to make those recommendations had that mindset, and that was really unfortunate. Yeah, that's the
amnesty, right?
Yeah. It's another mistake we made. What a confession by a guy who was on the inside and explaining. I loved, though, Ken, how he explained how their brains were operating.
Oh, yeah.
He's saying, this is what we were thinking, and guess what? We were thinking wrong. We were thinking
way
wrong.
Wrong, yeah.
Way wrong. Well, what's up in Larry? I wonder if Larry Connor's neighborhood is going to have a big rip-roaring of a good time as we head into the new year.
I know we're going to find out.
We're going to find out next when Larry Connor stumbles in here from his holiday grog. Mr. Connor's neighborhood is next on the Vic Porcelli Show with Tim Jones and Thunder Stealer Ken Williams here at 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. The Vic Porcelli Show.
Over $1.3 billion. Trump just talks the talk. We walk the walk. I want to be clear.
The president has been very clear.
On News Talk STL. St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk. Live and local.
I need to know what's going on in my city.
News Talk STL.
You know, in life, there are just some tough conversations to have. Long-term care is one of them. Managing our current and future health is certainly one as well. And it comes at a cost. Costs that in the St. Louis area for care can be $60,000 to $70,000. And that's if your long-term care is at home. Over $100,000 or more if it's in a facility. Now, can your savings fund this type of additional expense? Well, fortunately, News Talk STL listeners have the expert authority on this touchy subject right here in our own backyard. His name is Chris Cooper with Serenity Wealth Management. He's got some great solutions, tax-efficient solutions for your asset protection. Protect that lifestyle that you've been saving your whole life for. Don't let it slip away. Get a free copy of his book, which is called The CPA's Guide to Tax-Free Strategies for Long-Term Care. You can get it at SerenityLTC.com for free. SerenityLTC.com. Serenity Now with Chris Cooper.
Investment advisory services offered through OWLLFI LLC, a SEC registered investment advisor. This is a paid endorsement. Insurance and education services offered through Serenity Wealth Management.
Serenity Now!
One of the 5 most traumatic experiences in life is moving. I can assure you that McGuire Moving can help ease that pressure. Moving into a new home or a new business, locally, internationally. McGuire is rated #1. More than 80 years of experience. Free estimate? Call McGuire, 314-241-0600. 241-0600. McGuireMoving.com.
The news and talk.
If Joe Biden stays on the ticket, it could be the very best night for Republicans.
That matters to St. Louis.
The White House is trying to block more information. That's why we're going to continue to get the facts.
This is 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Whoosh.
Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. The Vic Porcelli Show.
Over here, dear.
On News Talk STL.
What do voters think about immigration right now?
Yeah, it's becoming a real top issue here. So the top issue facing the nation. Look, the economy is still #1. It was #1 in August. It's #1 now. But take a look at the immigration/border security. It was just at 11% in August. Look where it's hopped to now, 19%. So it's closing in on the economy. In a number of different polls I've looked at, immigration and border security is running a closer second place to the economy as we head into 2024. And you might be thinking, though, okay, this is just Republican voters who are feeling this way. But I want you to take a look here, because I think this is rather interesting. The most Google searches for migrants by state. Look at all these states, Phil. They're all blue states. Illinois is 1, New York is 2, Massachusetts is 3, New Jersey is 4, Colorado is 5, and of course, there's been a lot of talk about the migrant crisis in both Illinois and New York, and it seems like even voters in those states, very blue states, states that Democrats win in general elections almost always, they are focusing on this issue as well.
St. Louis, it's Mr. Connor's neighborhood.
Well, they're sounding the alarm bells, and they're at
Yes.
DEF CON 1 over at CNN DNC headquarters. Same thing, Mr. Connors, right?
Speaker,
it's good to be here.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much.
It's good to be here in the peace and tranquility of Mr. Connor's neighborhood.
Well-
given how hysterical, Larry, did you hear the hysteria there over at CNN, as you say?
I did, and you're right, CNN is always hair on fire, but we can rest assured that our president is doing well as he's on his 418th day of vacation, I think.
He's been in office for 419 days. Yeah.
38% of his presidency consisted of vacation time.
And East Palestine, Ohio, he is coming. He's going to be there at some point.
You know, if there was Palestinians there, he would have been there yesterday.
Did you see what he's now asking Netanyahu to do?
No, what now?
Send some money to the Palestinians here in the midst of the war. Send money to the Palestinians in Gaza.
So they can buy more weapons from Iran.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, Larry, if Joe Biden would just stay in St. Croix or wherever he is for the next 10 months, I think the world and the United States of America might be a better place.
We wouldn't miss him.
We would not.
we
would
haven't
not.
so far. I'm sorry, but we haven't.
So, Larry, Ken and Vic talk about this all the time, and I know Ken's been ringing the alarm bells on this. I didn't see this necessarily coming because I didn't know that people would finally understand the situation, but I think people do. And based on that CNN clip there, illegal immigration, maybe the most underreported story of the year that is now affecting Americans all across the country like never before. It's really an existential crisis, isn't it? Because if you don't have borders, you don't have a country.
You don't have a country. Nope. But on top of that, of course, they were talking about how the economy was the number one. The migrant issue has pushed the economy harder. But the migrant issue, as they like to call it, migrant, not illegals. They don't like using that word. They are actually adding to it. In fact, I was looking at a couple stories earlier. I don't have them right here in front of me. A couple of Democrat city mayors said, we're going to have to find a way to boost our budget because of the illegal crisis. Well, they don't say illegal, the migrant crisis. So, again, American citizens are going to go without while they take care of illegals.
And I like to call them illegal intruders because that's exactly what they are. These are military-age guys.
Several are lately.
They are not – at the very beginning, if you remember, there were women and children, and they promote – you saw it on the news all the time.
I remember that because the Democrats were down there and Trump separated the mamas for their babies. I remember that.
Exactly right. Ocasio-Cortez crying, screaming, which was Obama making the cages, by the way, originally.
Right.
So it wasn't Trump.
I think all the women and children are here. I think
they're all here.
They've all come. I think they're all here already.
But Tim, when you get Chinese nationals and people from Africa coming over, and they're here with nice clothes, they have backpacks on, and they're walking over here at ages between 21 and 35. You're wondering what the hell's going on with the border.
The other part of that is those are the ones you see coming across during the day. There are numerous night videos of those getaways, as they call them. Again, Chinese military-age men coming across the border at night, trying to evade notice at all. So those are the ones I really have concern about. They're not trying to even attempt to come through the, quote, approved migrant crossing.
There's so many stats out there to describe this, and they're all overwhelming. But when people put it in these terms, I think it brings it all home. The stat I saw yesterday was that the amount of illegal aliens that have come into this country that they know of over the last 3 years, so just under the Biden regime, which is what it's been, is in total larger than the population of 6 of our states combined.
Correct. Correct.
So Larry, my question is, so all of these people are going to be in need of housing and jobs and health care and public education and benefits. How are we going to afford all that? There's no plan for that, is there?
No, there's no plan. They have no plan to begin with. They thought it's just a great idea. I keep saying, Tim, if you leftists really want to believe this, you open your doors. You Hollywood elites lower the gate over your moat, the walkway, so they can get into your Put them in your garage. Numerous rooms. And even those of you who live in smaller homes, I know you got room. You got children. You can put some illegals in the bedroom with your child. Why don't you start there and prove to me that you're really concerned that you want to take care of them?
Yeah, I mean, Nancy Pelosi's never at her house, and Paul obviously needs some company.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe they can hang out with him.
But they won't do that.
No.
They won't do that same thing about no bail and no jail and get rid of the prisons. Okay, so you will take them into your home. If you start doing that, then I'll believe you really are bought into that.
Larry, you being a native Texan, give us a sense. I'm sure you're very connected with your friends, family, and folks from back there. How bad is it in those border towns? We probably don't have a sense of it, do we?
No, we don't. I mean, I've talked to some folks down there, and some people I know that have some land along the border. They're thankful that Abbott has come up, at this Texas legislature, and he signed off on it, the ability to arrest them for basically trespassing, what it amounts to, which would be legal. But, of course, they're looking at it in the federal level to curb immigration, and the feds are going to start fighting him back. But you cannot have – do you want somebody just walking through your yard in the middle of the night, or do you leave your door open so anybody can just kind of walk? That's our open border. Leave your front door open so people can just walk in your house, pick up what they want, maybe stay a couple, 3 days and move on or whatever. That is equivalent to our nation right now. Yes.
And we found out in Martha's Vineyard that they're not going to go for that.
No.
But, so I wanted to ask you, both of you, about this scenario here. Trump's elected president again, and
Is that a fact?
He's going to. So
you heard it here first.
Yeah. That's right. So when he is president again, he wants to remove any illegal intruder that has come into this country since Joe Biden took office. I personally, I go for that.
I go for it, but I don't know how he's going to accomplish that.
I don't know either, but that's what I was going to ask both of you. How do you think that could happen?
It would be very difficult. I mean, he's only going to be able, and remember, despite what the left thinks, when Donald Trump is reelected, which I believe is very possible as well, he's only going to have 4 years. And despite what these people are saying, at the end of those 4 years, he will peacefully and patriotically depart the office.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he's only got 4 years. And the first thing he's going to have to do is kind of get our fiscal ship in order, because it's also sinking, right? But I do think he will immediately lock down the border. He will build the wall. He will beef up all of the forces of the border security forces, ICE, that have been decimated. And I think he'll put in resources toward. So I think what he'll do is he'll get the resources going again to the things that the federal government should actually be doing.
And you know what? I'm not so sure that Biden, because every time he's a gambit, he can maybe pick up votes. I'm not so sure he might start getting together the act to start shutting the border down in various places. The progressive squad wants the borders open for everybody, but even they are acknowledging the backlash has been so vicious they cannot stand against it. So he might start saying, well, we are going to step up border security again. Well, I want to see them do it as opposed to talking about it. That's the issue.
Yeah.
Larry, do you think that since the Democrats in this country have gotten to promulgate most of their most extreme ideology over the last 3 years, and especially the first 2 years of Biden, because they had the House, the Senate, and the White House. So they got to promulgate and propagate basically all of their most extreme policies. And don't let anybody tell you differently. They had a very successful first 2 years.
Oh, they did.
And now we're seeing the results of that, right? Like when it's been tried anywhere else in the world, in world history, socialism, which eventually devolves into communism, is an utter and epic failure. People end up getting oppressed, repressed, and they die. Communism, I think, was the world's greatest killer of people in the 20th century. So now that people have seen that, and now that the economy has failed and the border has failed and urban America has failed, Larry, do you think there's any hope that some of the sane Democrats that I do believe are left are realizing that a leftist ideology is a failure?
They know it, but they've been afraid to speak out because they might be canceled and the woke will come after them. But they're reaching a point where they've got to defend themselves. They cannot go back to their constituents and say, I agree with what's been going on here. And as you well know, congressmen are up for election every 2 years. The other point being is that if they just look at history, as you said, you'd see the previous failures. But everything they were doing, we told them it was going to go bad. Like you were talking earlier about COVID and taking kids out of school. We knew that was going to be bad for our education. We knew opening borders was going to cause more chaos and strain on resources. And another example is the state of Oregon now wants to reevaluate and repass legislation where they open up drugs, legalizing basically all drugs. 3 years in now, they say, that didn't work. No kidding.
My God.
No kidding.
Everybody's passed out on the streets. Yeah, that's exactly what happens. Folks, we've been talking to Larry Connors of Larry Connors USA. He's at Larry Connors USA on Twitter. Larry, what you got coming up this afternoon? And what's a guy like you focus on as we wrap up one year and head towards another?
Well, I've got a guest today that everyone loves to hate sometimes, John LeBoutier.
Oh, yeah.
He wrote the book, Hobbit
He gets
Hates
my
America.
blood pressure
Hobbit
up.
Hates America.
I yell at you in the radio
well,
when you have him on. I love it.
Well, he's going to be on today, and I'm going to close out one of the hours today with some fun time and a Seinfeld Kramer thing. Go ahead.
Mr. Connor's Neighborhood on the Vic Porcelli Show.
It's so contrasting.
It's somehow perfect, though. Larry, it is an honor, a privilege, and a pleasure to work side by side with you every day at News Talk STL. Thanks for everything you brought to our station this year.
Thank you. Thank
Merry
you,
Christmas, Happy New Year. See you soon.
To both of you and all those listening right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And you guys got to check out Larry Connors USA this afternoon, right after the Tim Jones and Chris Harp Show, 6 to 8 p.m. every day here on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL. Next up, the Secretary of State, Jay Ashcroft. I bet he'll have a choice word or two to say about what's going on with his counterpart up in Maine, the Michigan court case, Colorado, and lots more to get to with the Secretary next. Here on the Vic Porcelli Show, 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL.
Happy New Year, Mr. Connors.
Happy New Year to you, sir.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. You're listening to the Vic Porcelli Show.
My son has not made money in terms of this thing about, what are you talking about, China.
Made in St. Louis, for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
On the next
Larry Connors USA.
As we wrap up 2023, we look to 2024 and what the future holds, good, bad, and the ugly.
Larry Connors USA. Now weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL.
From home improvement to replacement, do-it-yourself electrical projects can be shocking. That's where Grasser Electric can help. They've been lighting up St. Louis for years. From ceiling fans and dimmer switches to repair or replacing your electric. No job is too big or too small for your home or business. Grasser Electric will even install emergency backup generators. So call Grasser Electric today before the sparks start to fly. 636-441-5200 or go to grasserelectric.com.
This is Christina Straight with Straight Realty reminding you why pay more than 4. In 2003, we had a dream to start a real estate company that would revolutionize the real estate market. Now, 20 years later, after navigating through the many market's ups and downs, we know exactly how to help you in this challenging time. I'm Christina Straight, owner Straight Realty. Don't give away your hard-earned equity. Give us a call today, 314-441-4444, 314-441-all-4s. And remember, why pay more than 4?
Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
Lit Cigar wins Best Smoking Lounge and Best Smoke Shop in the Riverfront Times Best of St. Louis listing for 2023. That is 2 years back-to-back. Lit Cigar Lounge and its new space in the district just off Highway 40 in Chesterfield. Lit is for men and women who enjoy great cigars, premium drinks. The website keeps you on top of special events, including live entertainment. LitSTL.com. LitSTL.com.
This hour, the Vic Porcelli Show, brought to you by Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor for all your roofing needs. Visit ConnorRoofing.com. That's CONNER Roofing.com. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019.
It's Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft. You're listening to the Vic Porcelli Show on News Talk STL.
The Maine Secretary of State has barred Donald Trump from the ballot as the Supreme Court wages state authority to block the former president from election.
And welcome back to the Vic Porcelli Show here at 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL. Tim Jones, your afternoon host, in the mornings. We're doing the PM and the AM here with Ken Williams as well by my side, and frequent friend of the show. You hear him every Friday morning. The Secretary of Secretaries, our own Missouri Secretary of State, Jay Ashcroft, joining us once again. Mr. Secretary, it's great to speak with you here this morning.
Good morning and happy birthday. Vic may not be here, but I still wish you a happy birthday.
I was just getting ready to wish you a happy birthday. I know that's a thing. I listen every morning myself as well. I'm a big fan of the show as well as being on the station. Mr. Secretary, I've gotten to meet several of your colleagues around the country, and they all seem like good Americans, sane, rational people. I've never met your main colleague, but apparently she's quite a peach, isn't she?
Let me just tell you, they are not all sane and rational. And no, she is, it's terrible. It was a political statement. It was further using the power of government to go after political opponents. Luckily, her decision will not stand. Luckily, President Trump will be on the ballot. This is abhorrent. This is the sort of thing that happens with third world banana republics. I'm fighting back. I've got a coalition of secretaries that are getting ready to file an amicus brief with the United States Supreme Court to tell them why this cannot stand, why it will not stand, and, of course, it will not happen in Missouri.
That is fantastic. Mr. Secretary, technical question. Does she have the power to – do any of you have the – I know state laws are different, of course, in every state. That's our system of federalism. But do you all actually have the power to do this, or is she creating this out of complete whole cloth?
I would submit that she and the Colorado Supreme Court in Colorado created it out of whole cloth. This is just them doing what the laws differ, but the 14th Amendment does not apply to the president. I held a press conference after Colorado's decision and just laid out one main reason, the clear text. This is partisan politics. This is about defeating the different political side. Regardless of how you do it, it will not stand.
I think there's a lot of liberals that even agree with you as well. There was an article in the New York Times this morning. A liberal professor from NYU Law School is even saying, look, even if you don't like Trump, you can't do this. It's a bridge too far. Mr. Secretary, what now to explain to our listeners? A lot of people are asking me this question. I'm sure they're asking you too. What is going on with the Colorado decision? How quickly can the Supreme Court of the United States address this? And do you think it could possibly even be a 9-0 decision?
With some of the judges on the United States Supreme Court, I don't think I'd ever want to agree with them. So I'm scared about suggesting it could be unanimous, but it is clear-cut. The Colorado decision, the main decision, are being stayed, if you will. They are paused. They have no legal effect because of the actual language of their decisions and because there has been a request for the United States Supreme Court to take up this case. I think the U.S. Supreme Court has to take it up. I think they will take it up. I think it will be quick. It would not surprise me if they take it up and make a decision by the end of February or even faster. We've seen other people knocked off the ballot in local races. We've seen this now happen twice with Colorado and Maine. We've seen California say we're not going to do it. Missouri said, heck no, we're not going to do this. The Supreme Court either is going to take it up, or you're going to see Republican states that start to say, the vice president supported rebellion against the United States during the Floyd riots. She was supporting people that were attacking federal officers and burning federal buildings. If this is the new standard, Republican states are going to say, okay, if those are the rules, we're going to have to play by them also. We can't do that.
Yeah, and since you mentioned the whole point of what the left is saying Donald Trump did, perhaps we need to once again remind people, and Mr. Secretary, comment on this. I haven't seen anything anywhere that has made any sort of determination, or there's even facts or allegations to support that Donald Trump committed or attempted to commit a, quote, insurrection. Have you? Have I missed something?
No, you haven't missed anything. Your eyes have been open to the truth.
Mm-hmm. Folks, we're speaking to Missouri Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft. He's also a candidate for Missouri governor. You can find him at Missouri SOS or at Jay Ashcroft Mo. Mr. Secretary, the 50 laboratories of democracy are all getting ready to go back into action, which makes a lot of people excited and a lot of people very anxious. Freedoms, liberties, and pocketbooks are at risk once again this time of year when we flip the calendar page. The Missouri legislature will gavel in to the House and the Senate chambers next Wednesday at high noon. I'm sure that you and your team at the Secretary's office have been busy working on your legislative priorities. Let's talk about yours first. The priorities of the Secretary of State's office. What would you like to see the legislature work on this year, if they work on anything?
Okay, I was going to say, hope springs eternal.
Yes, yes.
We'd love to see some further election reform. According to the Heritage Foundation, Missouri has made the most improvement in the way they run their elections of any state in the country. We want to continue that. We'd like to see a citizenship requirement for registering to vote and for voting. We'd like to change our residency laws so it's clear who's allowed to be registered and who isn't and where they need to be registered. We'd like to see simple stuff like requiring people to use the full legal name to register. We'd like to put an expiration date on registration so that we know that people are getting our ballots are getting cleaned every, say, 6 years. What else? Just simple common sense stuff. We'd love to see a better improvement on our audits to where we use our machines so we have a quick unofficial count. We don't count all night. We don't have ballots coming in cars late in the middle of the night. But we also want to have a rigorous hand count audit. So we do both of those so that people have access. It's hard to cheat and to have credibility in our elections.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned a couple really important components there. And I know a lot of people focus, and rightfully so, on what happens on Election Day itself and machines and the ballot boxes and all that. But you mentioned registration and voter rolls. Mr. Secretary, you and I are both attorneys by trade, but we're some of the good ones. We're maybe two of the only good ones. But it's like picking a jury, right? If you don't have good voter rolls and you don't have good registration procedures, I mean, that's honestly where a lot of the fraud can occur in the first place, right?
It is. The fact that we've moved to a government-issued photo ID requirement, I'm so thankful we finally got that done, is a big deal. We've got to worry about voter registrations. And also, we need to say, wait a minute, why are all these people voting by mail? It's supposed to be election day, not election season. We have in-person absentee voting. If you can't be there on election day, let's say you can't just mail in it and trust the post office. You have to come in and do it in person and prove you're a real person with that government-issued photo ID. That would really help also.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And, Mr. Secretary, I know that you watch other states to see, what are they doing and what are they doing to make elections hopefully better and not worse. I know a lot of people have a lot of anxiety heading into another general election based on everything that happened last time. And I think good people can have great debates about all of the many problems. I believe there was definitely some surgical systemic voter fraud in certain parts of the country. But, Mr. Secretary, what's happened since? How worried do we have? Missouri always seems to do it right, to do it quickly, to do it efficiently. We know our results before midnight of election night, which is how we used to do it all the time across the country. Now we've got, Mr. Secretary, states that take days, weeks, months to determine their outcomes. With all this new technology, where are we in the country by and large? Have other states made improvements?
It tends, I hate to be partisan, but we've seen red states that have made improvements. I've had several states that have called me, their secretary, say, what are you doing? What should we be doing? We have calls regularly for what my ideas are to move forward because Missouri's been leading. But there are a lot of the blue states that aren't making the necessary changes. I mean, we've got states that want to be having non-citizens voting. That's ridiculous. I should not be voting in Canadian elections, and neither should Canadians be voting in our elections. It's just that simple.
Yeah, that's for sure. I keep hearing Pennsylvania coming up. People say they're very worried about Pennsylvania. And let's remember, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court, I believe, changed their election laws like a few weeks before the 2020 election. They were one of the states that I believe had unfettered, globalized, universal mail-in voting with no signature verification. Pennsylvania is a big state with a lot of electoral votes. Are those the kind of states we're worried about as we head into 2024?
Yes, and we need to be. And the real problem, I hate to say this, it pains me to say this, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court had some bad decisions, but the law was changed by a Republican legislature.
Mm-hmm.
The Republican legislature, and frankly, we've seen that here in Missouri, where they've ignored the Constitution, they've ignored the will of the people. That's how our budget has doubled in virtually the last 5 years. We have got to change that. We've got to put the power back with the people. I love the fact that we passed a law here in Missouri that said the courts cannot change the law less than 6 months before a presidential election. We're not going to have that sort of well, I just almost said a word I shouldn't say in the radio. We're not going to have that sort of stuff happening in Missouri.
Vic would say, "Don't you cuss here on this radio show." That's right. Folks, we're speaking.
I didn't. I came close.
You came close. We're speaking to Missouri Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft. He's a candidate for Missouri governor. We'll get to that in just a second.
Real quick, Mr. Secretary, that's
ahead,
what I
Ken.
love about you. You're just like one of us. That's all that is to it.
Yes, he is. At Jay Ashcroft Mo on Twitter. Mr. Secretary, you mentioned the Missouri legislature, and boy, you know, for those of us who served in the legislature, for those of us who still follow the legislature, try to work with the legislature on various public policy positions, it's been face plant in the hands the last many cycles. I don't know if this is what happens when a supermajority gets fat and happy. They've had very little successes with plenty of low-hanging fruit over the last few years. First of all, let's not. We'll talk. What should they work on next year? What should the priorities be for the House and the Senate in your mind beyond the things you just mentioned?
Let's get something done on initiative petition reform. I've been pushing them to do that since November of 2016. Let's get a real further tax decrease for the people of the state. Let's quit talking about little tax decreases at the local level. The state government has doubled. Let's give them a real big tax decrease from the state level and then cut government accordingly. Maybe we don't need that new airplane that was in last year's budget. Let's go ahead and finally prohibit the sale of our land to our enemies like China. We had a bill that would do that. Then the Senate voted to sell our land to China. I mean, let's respond to what the people need. Let's talk about true educational freedom and let parents decide how their kids are educated and make sure that they're educated in reading, writing, and arithmetic and not DEI. Let's hold their feet to the fire and actually do what the people want. How about instead of having a law that says in 3.5 years it'll be okay to do transgender surgeries on little kids? That's what they passed last year. How about we say it will never be okay and put a full-time permanent ban on that?
Yeah, you just gave us
that should be easy.
Yeah, a cartload of low-hanging fruit in a Republican state like Missouri with a supermajority legislature and a Republican governor. We should be walking lockstep with all of the other states that have gotten all these things done and more. You know, we always mention Florida and Texas and Tennessee and Oklahoma and so on and so forth. Mr. Secretary, education reform, parental choice, one of my favorite subjects. It has been since I was in the legislature. It remains to this very day. I see that we do have some leadership in the House and Senate. You've got Senator Andrew Koenig, who has filed an ESA, an Education Savings Account expansion bill in the Senate. I have seen that Representative Doug Ritchie has even taken that a step further and filed a universal voucher school choice bill in the House.
That's what we ought to do. That's what we ought to do. Get the government out of it. Put mom and dad, probably mom, in charge. That's how you do it. Have parents talking directly to teachers. Let teachers be the people that are in charge of schools. Parents in charge of their kids' education. That's how we move Missouri forward.
Yeah, why is that so hard for people to understand? And isn't this a shame? Isn't this shameful that our legislature, with everything that we have, has not done hardly anything to promote parental choice in education?
It's because they think they know better. They do not want to let the people be in charge of their own lives. They went to Jefferson City saying one thing, but in their heart of hearts, they get campaign contributions if they do something else. Mm-hmm. I mean, here's what I'd really like to see. I'd like to see a couple of senators that are willing to stand up and say, our state budget will be smaller than it was before COVID.
Amen.
When are we finally going to have Republicans that'll actually stand up and filibuster for we the people instead of for special interests? How come the Democrats can do that to stop good legislation, but the Republicans never stand up to stop the ballooning budget?
Yes, underline an exclamation point on that.
But it always keeps going on.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Mr. Secretary, before we let you go, of course, we got to ask you about the fact that, you know, a lot of this in Missouri that we complain about is because it seems like there's a lack of leadership at the top. You're trying to change that. You're running for governor here in the state of Missouri in 2024, which is about to be upon us. How is the campaign going? What are you hearing on the campaign trail?
It's going great. People are mad. They are so sick and tired of being treated like children by the government that's supposed to serve them. They are welcoming a breath of fresh air, someone that has not participated in the burgeoning budgets, that's held and called out our legislature, and it stood for the right things and gotten stuff done. That's what we need. I'm so thankful that the people have been so supportive of me.
You can follow him at J. Ashcroft Mo. He's candidate for governor. He is our Missouri Secretary of State. Mr. Secretary, before we let you go, we want to wish you a very happy birthday and a much more happy New Year.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Mr.
sir.
Secretary. We'll talk to you again soon. Vic will talk to you next week. Jay Ashcroft, Missouri Secretary of State and candidate for governor.
He's passionate, man.
My goodness, Ken, this show just flies by. We've got 1 hour in the can. We got another great hour straight ahead. We're going to talk to Smoozy Q, Susie Moore. We put her back in the closet after the morning show. We're going to wind her up and get her back out again, talk about red state headlines and much more as we head into the new year here on the Vic Porcelli Show. Tim Jones in for Vic with Ken Williams, 1019 94.1. This is News Talk STL. Timmy!
Whoosh.
Hey, Tim Jones here with Tony Colombo for our friends Rodney and Jen Wallner at the Wallner Home Selling Team. If you're thinking about taking advantage of the market and selling your home, don't wait. Call the Wallners now. Put St. Louis's #1 home selling team to work for you. Rodney and Jen have the experience and work ethic that sets them apart from all the rest. That's why they sell 15 times more homes per year than your typical realtor and have so many qualified buyers right now. They'll guarantee to obtain you an offer. The results, Tony, speak for themselves.
That's right, Tim. In fact, I recently benefited from those results personally. My wife and I couldn't be happier with the job the Wallners did for us, selling our old home in less than 2 days for significantly more than we were asking for and finding us the perfect new home. Like so many others, we loved working with Rodney and Jen, the Wallner Home Selling Team with Berkshire Hathaway. So if you're thinking about selling your home, don't wait. Call the Wallners now at 314-810-SOLD. That's 314-810-SOLD. Hey, Tony Colombo here for Gutter Pros. When Christine and I bought our new house, we knew the gutters were an issue, and after meeting the Gutter Pros team, we knew that they were right for us. Gutter Pros is your all-in-one gutter service team that offers a variety of affordable solutions, and they even offer free estimates, so there's no cost to you to find out if they are right for your home, just like they were for ours. If you're having a problem with your gutters, contact the Gutter Pros now, because with Gutter Pros, water goes where they tell it to. Call them at 314-656-7195 or visit gutterpros.com.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019 94.1 and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. While the California Secretary of State has certified Donald Trump's presence on the March 5th primary ballot, in the state of Maine, Mr. Trump has been disqualified from appearing on the ballot.
The decision by Secretary of State Shenna Bellows follows a ruling earlier this month by the Colorado Supreme Court that booted Donald Trump from the ballot in Colorado under Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. That decision has been stayed until the U.S. Supreme Court decides whether Trump is barred by the Civil War-era provision, which prohibits those who engaged in insurrection from holding office. The Trump campaign says it will appeal Bellows' decision, and Bellows suspended her ruling until that court system rules on that case. In the end, it's likely that the nation's highest court will have the final say on whether Trump appears on the ballot in Maine and in other states. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
Senator Lindsey Graham goes north to stand with Chick-fil-A, the restaurant chain facing a challenge to its Sabbath day closing policy at its locations along the busy New York State Thruway.
Graham posted a video on X showing him standing outside a Chick-fil-A in New York protesting a bill that would require the chicken sandwich giant to violate its policy of staying closed on Sundays. Graham says, quote, "This violates the Constitution. This violates the religious liberty of all of us and the company called Chick-fil-A who tries to honor the Sabbath." Graham is threatening to withhold federal funding from any state that tries to make Chick-fil-A open on Sundays. Bob Agnew reporting.
They're doing it again. Iran-backed Houthi rebels firing more ballistic missiles at American military ships in the Red Sea. No ships were hit and no one was hurt. More than 100 missiles and drones unleashed on Ukraine overnight by the Russians. The capital city, Kiev, along with Kharkiv and Lviv, were hit by Russian missiles. The Dow down 30 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
In Dinesh D'Souza's new blockbuster movie, Police State exposes the government's plot to control MAGA conservatives.
These are anti-government.
We have freedom of religion and freedom of speech.
Violent extremists, and they must be dealt with.
MAGA Republicans threaten the very foundation of our republic.
Mass surveillance, censorship, and armed attacks. There's nowhere to hide.
FBI, we have an arrest warrant.
15 marked units on my property.
Military-styled soldiers pointing an automatic rifle at my head.
Are we becoming a police state?
It may be the Russia other people grew up in, but not my America.
Directed by Dinesh D'Souza, Debbie D'Souza, and Bruce Shuley. Police State sounds the alarm.
What we need is a person, and then we go find out what crime you did.
How did we give the state this kind of power?
Police State. They have their lists. Are you next?
If they're coming for me, they're coming for you.
Police State. Buy it or stream it now at salemnow.com. Salem Now.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Leah Hill with your first alert forecast. A little bit of light snow this morning that could cause some isolated slick spots on the roadways. Well, I don't expect this to be a problem for most as you head out for the drive. Do be cautious and take it slower, especially on those bridges and overpasses. Still expecting temperatures today to rise to about 41 degrees, turning clearer by the afternoon with some breaks in the cloud cover. In fact, after today, the rest of the week looks dry. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
Former Speaker of the House.
You just proved why you left-wing loons are so insane.
Y'all ready for this? Tim Jones.
Yeah, you're ready for this. All right, you're going to have to play that 4 or 5 more times.
Right.
Jeff Allen will love it. It'll be great radio. We'll just recirculate that. Welcome back to the Vic Porcelli Show. Yes, this is the Tim Jones Takeover Edition.
Right.
Vic will be back on Tuesday.
Yeah.
When we all come back, right?
Yeah, we're going to do a really cool, I think we're going to do a really cool, like, best of on Monday.
Yes.
Because of New Year's. Everybody's off then. But then after that, Vic's in. Vic's back.
And you guys have a lot of great best of stuff. We've been talking about so many topics this morning. So I gave you that dramatic reading of the mea culpa of the National Institutes of Health dude, the former National Institute of Health director, all about the fact that everything we were saying 2-3 years ago about, maybe we shouldn't lock down the schools. I don't think these masks are working. You know, maybe we should focus on like the elderly and sick populations instead of making everybody stay home so we crash the economy. This guy basically admits that Vic and Ken and I were all correct.
Yes.
And so we talked about that. Later in the show, we're going to play Jon Stewart, March 2021, where he just absolutely wrecks and ruins Stephen Colbert's night. And that was about a different topic, a different conspiracy theory that came true about the origins of the Wuhan Institute of Coronavirus Labs, you know? And it's just epic, and it's fantastic. And the fact that Jon Stewart was brave enough as a New York City liberal comedian to go on Colbert and smack him with this was really incredible.
Yeah.
But we're going to get back into the present day for now because we got to catch up on a lot of stuff over at redstate.com. We got somebody in the studio to talk about that.
Oh, Susie Q, baby, I love you. Susie Q.
I'm the boss. How about that?
I should have listened to Susie more from the beginning.
Yes, you should. And yes, she is. Susie Moore at Smoozy Q, Deputy Managing Editor of Red State, redstate.com, frequent contributor, commentator, host, and other things extraordinary here at News Talk STL. How you doing, Susie? Happy New Year.
I'm good. And then, yes, I do make those faces, like, even when I'm on the phone and you guys play that intro. I'm like,
That's
rolling
right.
my eyes around.
That's right.
I'm like, you should have
Vic
listened to Susie
Vic
more
loves it,
from the
by the
beginning.
way.
I know he does.
Susie, I also want to wish you a very merry 5th day of Christmas. 'Cause
Oh,
today
that's
is
right.
the 5th day of Christmas. A lot of people screw this up. They think the 12 days of Christmas are in the 12 days leading up to Christmas.
No.
Mon frère contraire. Au contraire, mon frère.
I wish we could
I don't
play-
speak French. My wife hates when I try to.
Tim,
She actually does.
I wish we could play something, to to feature that.
Oh, do you have something that might get us into the spirit of being actually in the Christmas
later?
season?
You're the host.
Okay.
Later, if you want to do it, we'll do it.
Okay, we'll do that later. So, yeah, Susie,
yeah, it's not Advent.
This is another this is another thing that corporate America and commercialism has screwed up. They've screwed up the actual celebration of Christmas. You're supposed to get ready for Christmas. That's why we have, as you just said, Advent. That's why we have the preparation, the days of somber reflection and fasting and self-flagellation and I'm sorry, I'm talking about personal stories here. And need I go on?
TMI.
So, yes. Then you have the day. You have the day. You have boom. You have Christmas, and then you celebrate the Christmas season of Christmas. Christmas is the first day of Christmas, and then you have second, third, fourth. They even wrote a song about it that we're actually going to play a little bit longer. We have a special rendition. It ends with the 12th day of Christmas, the celebration of. You know what it ends with.
Oh, Epiphany.
You got it. Yes. I was not trying to trick you.
I
Yes.
was like, wait, is this a trick question?
No.
Epiphany.
The Super Bowl. No. Epiphany. And so this is so we're on the 5th day, and thank goodness, Susie, we got to the 5th day because the first 4 days we got so many freaking birds in here. We don't know what to do with them anymore, right? We have the four calling birds, whatever a calling bird is, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and the partridge. Today we get whatever lady loves, 5 golden
Bling.
rings. Yes,
Where
that's
are
right.
my rings?
That's right. So we took a break from the waterfowl. So, Susie, what do you, before we get into, there's a lot of great red state stuff I want to ask you about, but I asked Larry Connors this, I'll ask you this. Here, as we approach the end of the year, a lot of people have moments of self-reflection and thinking about the year that was and the year that's going to be. Do you do that? Do you do things at the end of the year where you pause and take time and take stock, or clean out the email inbox and get all the junk off the desk at home? And what is Susie Moore doing at this time of year?
Definitely, I do that. That some of it's conscious, some of it's just sort of natural, inherent. I definitely kind of do take stock. I used to kind of come up with not a list of resolutions, but sort of like goals or reminders. I haven't done that as much lately, but since I'm a writer, I definitely spend some time, putting something together and thinking through like, what's this year meant to me? What do I want the next year to look like? That sort of thing. And I also sort of instinctively do organize. This past couple days, I organized my gift wrap corner.
You did,
and my junk drawer.
I'm so impressed.
I know.
I am obsessive compulsive, and
me too.
people say I have every malady under the sun when it comes to like things being at right angles and stuff. In fact, it's so bad that when my friends, from my high school friends, who there's a few of them that we are still very close with, and we have a little party every year. When they come to the house, I always have to check everything after they've left because they've gone in and like moved things around on my desk.
Oh, yeah.
They've put pictures upside down. Yeah, there's some of them are laughing and giggling right now because they think it's so much fun.
Yeah, I do that to other people too, but I'm the same way though. I like, it's like I'll be like kind of like a slob for a little bit, and then I'm like, this has got to be organized. So
Yes.
The other day I went after the gift wrap, the greeting cards, all that stuff, and it's all nicely and neatly organized.
Wow, I'm so jealous. You're gonna need to come over to my utility closet next. So,
All right.
Susie,
I'll charge a reasonable fee.
Yes, thank you. Do you get into do you being with and you all at Red State might do this? Do you guys put together lists and things like lists of that and lists of this?
Sometimes. I mean, it's
Okay.
not like mandatory. It's just kind of sometimes somebody might be inspired to put together a list and come up with something kind of fun. We're trying to make sure that we don't do too much of that, even though it's the holiday. We actually do want to have some substantive stuff up there. But yeah, we'll probably see a few lists arrive. I know that Brad Slager did. He's doing one with movies, and he usually does one with cocktails too.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
that's good. I like that.
I remember Brad's cocktail list. Yes. So, Susie, speaking of Red State, some great stuff up. You guys are definitely covering, I know, the bizarre decision of the Maine Secretary of State to decide to be judge, jury, and executioner because Orange Man bad. Nick Rama's got a story whereby he is talking about that even Maine Democrat Jared Golden has joined Susan Collins, neither of whom are probably Trump fans, in blasting the Secretary of State's decision to boot Trump. Because, Susie, once again, this is not about when they're wrecking the Constitution and the norms of how we conduct elections in this country, it's not about Trump. It's about, and that's what we're sounding the alarm bells on. It's about the system that has worked for 235 years.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Golden actually makes the point that he voted to impeach Trump twice. He is no fan of Donald Trump, but he said, I do think this, we have to be subject to the rule of law, and we have to follow the rule of law, and, this is the way to do it, is to go follow the actual proper procedure, not just unilaterally do that.
Something else you have on Red State I just noticed here about the anti-Israel activists around a car, and they're doing all these different protests and everything. Tim and Susie, what do you think is going to happen in New York on New Year's Eve when they drop the ball? Do you think that's going to be a big interruption? And if so, where are we heading with this?
I think it's entirely likely. We talked about that a little bit on the morning show too, because Eric Adams has come out, the mayor has come out with a statement about, we're tracking threats, that sort of thing. We're keeping an eye on things. We're going to have an enhanced law enforcement presence, which of course they always do on New Year's Eve anyway. I mean, that's a huge gathering in the middle of the city, so they have to do that. There are some rumblings that some of the protests want to make a big splash there, just like they've been doing at some of the Christmas celebrations, the Christmas tree lightings. They were going to raid the Holocaust Museum. They did back off of that. Yesterday, they were blocking the entrance to the World Trade Center.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if we see some sort of protest activity in the midst of all that. Whether or not it turns into something really ugly, well, I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah.
Susie, everything that the hard progressive left, the lunatic left is doing is the exact opposite of what they say they stand for, right? Hypocrisy knoweth no bounds with them these days, right?
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you 100%. They don't, it's clear that this is not about persuasion, because they're doing the most obnoxious, antagonistic approach to it. And everything they say, the opposite is true.
Right.
It does seem like that. We're for peace, we're for this, we're for that, and what we're going to do the exact opposite, and then have you somehow agree with us? It makes no sense.
You, I believe it was you on maybe the morning show or on one of the things you were on this week, and I know I heard it on one of the other shows as well. You all have picked up on the brilliant soliloquy by Catherine Herridge, predicting potentially a black swan event for 2024. And Susie, it feels like something could happen because of all of the calamities around not just the country, but the world, right?
Yeah.
So for folks who have no idea what we're talking about, would you explain Black Swan event and basically nutshell what Catherine Herridge, who is maybe one of the few objective reporters left in the country, who's not on Fox News or Newsmax.
Yeah. And she was on Fox, and she's been on CBS now for several years. She does very solid reporting.
Yep.
I love she goes through and highlights things and posts the pictures of her highlights on Twitter, so you can kind of dissect whatever it is she's analyzing and get a really good view into her insights. She predicted this. A black swan event, for lack of a better description, is basically like the perfect storm, only the worst possible perfect storm. It's like when something huge and calamitous happens, forces converge, and you have this sort of life-altering, world-changing type event. 9/11 would be a black swan event. That's a good example. October 7, black swan.
But coronavirus would not have been, because there have been those in the past. Isn't it something that is completely unexpected, that has not happened before?
It's unexpected, but I think you could make an argument that COVID was a black swan event, because the way that it all kind of unfolded, and the fact that it affected not only our elections here in the United States, but just overall the world, the world economy and
the
everything.
The overreaction was the black swan event, right?
Absolutely.
Because we've had viral outbreaks in humanity for hundreds of years, and some of them have been 1918 have been pretty horrific.
Yeah.
The overreaction, right, was the black swan
Big
event.
time.
That's what I think what Catherine Herridge was getting to too, because she actually said the coronavirus was not one of those. But you're talking about the reaction. That's a whole different story.
That is a different story. Yeah. And the whole idea is, of course, black swans are very rare. It's sort of like not a once in a lifetime, but like, you talk about a 500-year flood. Well, this is the sort of equivalent in terms of some sort of catastrophic event. And, the forces are all lined up. I mean, we've got major unrest around the world. We've got craziness all over the place, people protesting. They don't even know what they're protesting. You've got just major economic upheaval, and you've got like no leadership.
Yeah.
So,
if you were going to go to Hollywood right now and design the next major box office blockbuster, I mean, you don't have to think too hard. All the ingredients, as you just said, are around you. So if you're going to create the next Independence Day, the next movie, World War Z or The Day the World Ends, if you're going to create the next movie like that, where the globe basically is under attack from within and without, I mean, you've got all the ingredients right now, as you've said. You've got and you're going to cast Martin Sheen or one of those other guys that looks like a president in this movie. I mean, you've got the world's leader of democracy, freedom, and liberty under attack from within and without. You've got you've got countries teetering on major economic collapse. You have war breaking out between superpowers and between terrorist groups and against the state of Israel. I mean, it's like, okay, I'm just waiting for the climax because I feel like I'm in the opening credits right now.
And it's funny that Tim mentions that, Susie, because Barack Obama produced a film on Netflix that actually deals with the end of, I guess, civilization.
Leave the World Behind.
Leave the World Behind, yeah.
Yep.
Which is kind of odd.
I didn't see that. I haven't watched it, but
No, I haven't
I
either.
actually listened to a podcast that talked about it, how like in depth, and it sounds like it's not nearly as good as it could have been in terms of the premise. But it's the world's ending. No one really knows why, but these people are like having a big chill moment in a house in the Hamptons.
And then something about hating white people or something.
It's a comment by the daughter. So the one there's a man and his daughter that are they're the owners of the house where this other couple is sitting they're doing like an Airbnb thing, and the owners are black, and the daughter makes a comment that's very like anti-white, whatever. I don't think that was the overall premise of the movie, but there are some racial undertones that are part of it
that are unneeded.
Yeah. Well,
but anyway.
Yeah.
Susie, I can literally hear and see our listeners right now at home. Many of them are home right now. They're scrolling through redstate.com. They're Googling as we're Googling and binging and DuckDuckGoing as we're talking. What should they make sure they don't miss on Red State today?
We definitely have to read the Pop-Tart story.
Okay, yes. Tell us about the Pop-Tart story. The feel-good story of the year, as it says. Courtesy of Bonchi.
It's just silly. I mean, okay, so that's one of the bowls this year, is the Pop-Tart Bowl.
You're kidding me. I missed that.
No, I think it was last night. So there was a mascot for the bowl, and it was like a giant dancing Pop-Tart guy. You know, it was like a guy in a Pop-Tart outfit. And towards the end of I don't know if it was halftime or towards the end of the game itself, basically dove into like a fake toaster.
Oh,
and then,
no, it's hilarious.
Then they actually brought out an actual like ginormous real Pop-Tart that they had cooked, and people ate it. So it's just kind of a funny, silly take on
That's great.
It is.
It is. But you know what? Unfortunately, somehow it'll all be racist. I don't know why. I don't know why. I have no
They
proof
ate the Pop-Tart of color.
Yeah, it's exactly. I have no proof or evidence
Well,
of that.
they had white icing, so I don't think we're going to get into that. I think it's
there we
okay.
go.
man. Well,
I
there
think
we
it's
go.
all right.
And we'll never see
it's
the
just a
Pop-Tart
funny,
again.
silly story. It's cute, and there's good video of all the shenanigans, and it's just it's a little bit lighter fare, obviously, but it's fun.
And Susie, finally, before we let you go, as one of my spiritual senseis here, because I do love when you talk about kind of the spiritual aspect of things, which you write about from time to time. What is the Christmas season, the celebration of the coming of the Lord, the now the rebirth into the new year? What does that mean for you spiritually, or what would you suggest people think about in that regard as we enter another year?
Well, I think the most important part about it is it's the reminder that, there's a reason we're celebrating. We were given the greatest gift of all, and that is our Lord and Savior. And it's very easy to get caught up in all of the craziness in the world, and then the trappings of the decorating and the traditions that we have for the holiday that really don't have anything to do with the spirituality of it. But it's important, I think, you're given a little bit of break sometimes from work during this time. So take that time to take a step back, take a deep breath, reflect on our Lord and what it means that he came to us, 2,000 plus years ago.
Exactly.
And kind of soak that in, because when all is said and done, for all of the angst that we feel, the anxiety and the outrage and the troubles that we talk about on a daily basis, which help keep us busy, he's got this.
Absolutely.
Susie,
Wise words indeed.
And real quick, Susie, what do you got planned for New Year's?
Nothing.
You know what?
Nothing.
Great. Good call.
Will you try to stay up and watch the ball drop and all that stuff?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm kind of at the point now where it's like,
it's just another day.
It's another day.
I'll tell you what, over Christmas, I unplugged.
Yeah.
And it was awesome.
Well, I work all day on New Year's Day too, so.
Oh, do you?
You can't party too hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Only 4 or 5 martinis instead of 10.
Exactly. Exactly.
So do we get more more to the points coming up?
Yes. Yeah, I
Okay.
took a little break from it this
Yeah,
week. I just
that's all
needed
right.
to.
Yeah.
And plus, the schedule was a little off. So, yeah, no, there'll be brand new ones for next Wednesday. There won't be one on Monday, but there'll be one for Wednesday.
All right, very good. Well, Susie, we'll look forward to seeing you next year in the new year. Thanks for
Absolutely.
everything you've provided us here at News Talk STL, especially for the Vic Porcelli Show.
You betcha.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, guys.
New Year indeed. At SmoozyQ on Twitter, redstate.com. We'll be back with Jon Stewart speaking truth to power, believe it or not. This is an oldie but a goodie that is worth remembering every once in a while. The 12 Days of Christmas and more. Here on the Vic Porcelli Show, Tim Jones in the Big Chair with Ken Williams, 1019 94.1 News Talk STL.
Follow us on Rumble at NewstalkSTL. The Vic Porcelli Show.
Thank you, Secretary Buttigieg.
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
Whoosh.
Hey, Columbo here with a great holiday offer from the cleaning pros at Zero Res. Just mention the Columbo special when you book a cleaning in the month of December, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $129. Plus, you can take $50 off your air duct cleaning. We trust Zero Res because they are simply the best when it comes to cleaning any surface in your home. And just remember to mention the Columbo special when you call 314-474-2020 or book online anytime at ZeroResSTL.com.
Is your family prepared for the financial burden of losing a loved one?
Are you aware of the cost of a funeral?
Benjamin Schaefer with Senior Memorial could help you qualify for lifetime permanent final expense insurance coverage with no medical exam required.
Just answer a few health questions, and once accepted, your rates never increase.
Do you have diabetes? High blood pressure?
Have you had a heart attack, a stroke?
No problem.
Benjamin Schaefer with Senior Memorial can help protect your legacy.
Call or text 314-866-8886. That's 314-866-8886.
To learn more about permanent lifetime final expense insurance coverage.
Benjamin Schaefer with Senior Memorial could help you qualify for immediate coverage by answering just a few health questions.
Call or text 314-866-8886 or learn more at memorialplans.com. That's memorialplans.com.
Policies underwritten by Senior Life Insurance Company, not available in all states.
When you help create a Make-A-Wish experience for children with critical illnesses, you create a turning point in their treatment and recovery. And suddenly, the joy of childhood that they've lost is within reach. Right now, there are over 600 children in our region alone who are waiting for their heartfelt wish to come true. Give the gift of hope and joy this season by texting the word WISH to 243725. That's WISH, 243725.
So many ways to listen to News Talk STL.
Come join the conversation. All you have to do is say,
Hey Alexa, play News Talk STL.
Welcome to News Talk STL, conservative talk radio for St. Louis.
Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. You're listening to the Missouri Broadcasters Association Air Talent of the Year. This is the Vic Porcelli Show.
Whoosh, my mega brothers. Yes, we're going to say that a lot
Whoosh.
in 2024, aren't we, Ken?
Yes, we are.
You know,
thanks
Ken,
to our Vic Heads, man. I'll tell you what, I just want to say Happy New Year to every Vic Head listening right now.
Yes.
We love you, and you are actually the people who are creating these things like Whoosh and all that other stuff. We just put it out there for you, and then you make it something.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I haven't even checked the chat box today. Oh, it's busy.
Yeah.
We have a busy chat box today. We'll say hi to everybody at... don't we do that at a certain point in the show? Or
Yeah, Vic
Vic
likes to do it. You can.
Okay.
Sure, I'm sure it'd be no problem.
We'll see if we have time this segment. Definitely we'll do that in the next segment, which will be our last segment already for 2023.
I
Ken,
know,
can you believe
I
what
know.
the heck? Where did it go? I felt like the year kind of started hot, and then I felt like it did slow down midway. There was a lot going on, and but you getting kind of the heyday, the humdrum of summer, and man, the fall I lost the fourth quarter. October, November, December, just gone.
And that's because I think the Democrat fascists were planning things, and then when the fall hit, they just unleashed everything at once. I'll tell you what, as a producer, it was nonstop for me. There were so many times, Tim, I was getting material with Vic for the following day, and we couldn't choose half of it. Half of it had to be set aside.
I agree with you. I'm the same way. You've got this stack of stuff for me here I've barely scratched, and I've got a ton of stuff on my Twitter feed that I have posted over the holiday season. I did unplug to an extent, but you know me, I can't ever shut my yapper, and I love feeding the loons. It's like
me too.
I like throw. See, they think that they're like getting at me or owning me or something. No, I'm throwing fish food into the sewer pipe of Twitter, and I just love watching the piranhas come out. It's so much fun.
Yeah. They were talking about pedophiles, and they mentioned something about a particular celebrity, and I said, well, and less pedophiles are great. I got hit so hard with these people coming out of the woodwork. I don't even know where they came from, but a lot of them I know were paid bots because they had 25,000 tweets, but they had like 100 followers. So you know that they're doing that thing, that constant tweeting for cash. And I love it because it doesn't affect me at all, but they think it does.
Yes, absolutely. Ken, there was 2 stories that came out that I think I talked about with you all. I may have talked about one of them last week with you all on my Wednesday hit, but it's worth bringing up again because it sums up and encapsulates not just this year, not just the last 3 years, but everything the left has been engaged in for probably the last generation or so. And it's brought us to this point. The reason they flipped out about Trump has nothing to do with his mean tweets or Orange Man bad or the fact that they think he's a racist, misogynist, sexist, blah, blah,
Russian
blah,
asset.
blah, Russian. It has to do, Ken, with the fact that after 2 terms of Barack Obama, they thought they were going to get a third with Hillary Clinton. And the march towards soft-core socialism in this country was well underfoot.
Oh, yeah.
They were doing it. They were,
ACA.
remember, Barack Obama promised to transform the country. And I always thought to myself, transform it into what? They never finished the sentence. Hope and change for what are we hoping to change, right? Oh, so folks, anytime these left-wing liberals, Ken and I and Vic, we always say, man, they're so good at wordsmithing. But you know what? You know you can turn it around on them? Ask them what it's about. They're really good at the symbolism and the wordsmithing, and they're really good at sloganeering.
Yes.
They're really good at sloganeering. But it's a mile wide, and it's a 1/4 millimeter thick, okay?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't mean anything, or it means even worse. It means something really bad. So, hope and change. Everyone, hope and change. That carried a guy who no one knew into the presidency.
And
not
no
once,
one still
but twice.
knows.
Right. Not once, but twice. So, did you ever take a minute and ask yourself, hoping for what change? What change are we hoping for? Well, as he said, to transform the country. Transform it into what? We are a constitutional republic. We are a democratic republic, okay? A constitutional republic that is built on the basics of democracy. It has a constitution that is supposed to be immutable in many regards. We have divided government. This is an incredible thing, an experiment that was set up over 230 years ago, and it's worked really darn good. You know what it does? It empowers the individual. Yeah. It gives the individual the opportunity to have the consent of the governed. The left, which is all about authoritarianism and control, hates all that. So they want to transform it into something it's not. So what we're at is a point where they're mad at Trump because he exposed all of that.
Yeah.
He pulled back the rug. He pushed open the curtains and let the sunshine in. And people went, holy crap, is that what our federal government has really been up to for the last 30, 40 years? Is this what our universities are teaching our children? Whoa, stop the truck, Gladys. This is what they're doing in grade schools? That's what Trump did. He exposed all of it. And that's why they hate him. And that brings me to the article I found that I went the heaven. I felt like Heaven's Gate opened and the light shone down because it's everything that we have been trying to impress upon people, not our audience, the Vic Heads, the NewstalkSTL Nation. A lot of you know and understand this. This is something, though, this is my late Christmas present to you all, my gift for you as we head into the new year. Read this article and share it with everyone. The title of the article is it is not an accident. Okay? Something that you and I and Vic have said, it's all on purpose.
Yeah.
If you were going to set out to destroy the beacon of freedom and liberty on planet Earth, the United States of America, what would you do differently than all of the things that Joe Biden has done by hook or by crook, by executive order or by legislative fiat over the last few years? What would you do differently?
In concert with China, by the way.
Yes.
I mean, you would open the border.
You would
absolutely
eliminate
open the
your
border.
borders, and
Sure.
you would let an invasion occur.
So that gets rid of our sovereignty.
Okay.
And then you let all these people in that have no loyalty to the American way.
And you just scatter them everywhere.
Everywhere. But you have to make sure that it is everywhere.
Yes, and you completely, and then after you've scattered them, you make sure that there's no way that you can keep track of them.
Then you make us energy dependent.
Yes, you handcuff us from using all of the God-given fossil fuel resources that we have while we are trying to advance ourselves beyond fossil fuels. So you just basically eliminate all the research and development, and you beholden us to other nations that use fossil fuels.
And Tim, I think you hobble the farmer. I think this is the most underrated subject that we really haven't talked about at all.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the media has touched on it. In fact, I think the media is purposely avoiding it. But the farmer is being decimated in this country, and the farmer is the backbone of this country.
Ken, how about this? Would you spend so much frickin' money that basically you have to come up with a name for it that you've never had before, you know?
Yeah.
You would spend trillions, approaching bazillions of dollars. Would you perhaps do that and put us into the largest debt, not by a little bit, but by a lot of it that our nation's ever had to suffer through?
I didn't grab this clip because it's too long, but I'm going to tell you right now, they just announced that when a person comes over the border illegally, they get a Visa card for $5,000. They get a cell phone, and they get an airline ticket to anywhere in the country. Now, this is a fact. This is documented. If anybody wants to debate me on it, go ahead, because I know I've seen it. I've seen the documentation on a $5,000 gift card to spend wherever they want, an airline ticket and the cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me, it makes me so mad because our veterans are being hurt so much right now. The homeless that we have, American homeless right now, are not getting that $5,000 card. It just pisses me off.
The next thing you would do, Ken, right, would be you would attack our institutions, right? All of our institutions.
All of them.
All of them. You would attack our educational institutions. You would attack our judicial institutions. You would attack our legislative institutions. You would attack our constitutional institutions, right? You would try to dismantle things like the Electoral College. You would go after Supreme Court justices like Clarence Thomas, and you would foist all kinds of nefarious, untrue allegations on them, right? You would try to make people have doubt about everything we have, because when they have the doubt, then they want to change them. Well, why would you change the Electoral College? Why would you change the 9-justice Supreme Court? Why would you change the meaning of citizenship? You would attack our institutions, and that is the subtitle of this article. The title, remember again, it's not an accident. The subtitle is "The Destruction of Our Institutions is Exactly the Point of Today's Far Left. We must defend democracy and free markets against the onslaught." That's what's going on. There is a war for the heart and the very fabric of the soul of this nation. And people better wake up and realize that's what's going on.
We have a guest that comes on every week. His name is Drew Thomas Allen.
Love Drew Thomas Allen.
Yeah, and he did a podcast, and I was watching it, and he had an amazing spin on it. Tim, you're a lawyer, okay? You can actually answer some of this. But right now, it's what happened in Colorado, for example. That's not going to, in the long run, work because the Supreme Court's going to take it up, I believe, and Drew believes, and it's going to be shot down. Now, that's part of their nefarious plan on the left.
They've incrementally pushed us to that point now where we can question presidential candidates.
Right, but what they want to do is demonize the Supreme Court of the United States of America.
Pack the court. That's coming next again.
So they're going to
get rid of Justice Thomas because he's a black man who happens to be a conservative.
So the lying left fascists are going to say, see what the Supreme Court is doing?
Yes.
This needs to be changed, people. See this? They're letting this Hitler-like person named Trump allowed to run again, and they need to be changed.
And you know why that is, Ken? It's because they are literally real-life, present-day Marxists. And we used to say that a little tongue-in-cheek. We used to say that, and we'd kind of giggle a little bit. Now we absolutely mean it seriously.
No, I mean it.
And listen to what the article touches upon that. All of these things that Ken and I just talked about, and a lot of those are referenced in this article in the National Review, these are not accidents. The destruction of our institutions is exactly the point of today's far left, and it's not a new thing. Many think that income inequality is their animating motivation, but that's incorrect. If it were, perhaps there might have been a modicum of curiosity when the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, thank you, Donald Trump, led to surging blue-collar wages and declining inequality. Instead, when free market policies delivered for the poor, remember, not only did Donald Trump, as I said earlier, pull back the curtain on all the bad stuff, he tried to do good stuff. And so when Donald Trump supercharged certain conservative, libertarian, conservatarian ideals, tax cuts for everyone, reducing regulations, educational parental choice, when those things were supercharged at the federal level and allowed to play out across the country, people were happy.
Yeah.
People were calm. Things were peaceful. There were no new wars. We were at the lowest points of dissatisfaction in our country ever, and they couldn't stand it. So the reason, as Bill Buckley understood, is that the connection between the left and Marxism animates their pursuit of American decline, which is exactly what they want. Economist Branko Milanovic reminds what Marxism is all about. As long as private capital exists, as long as you all out there get to own stuff, build things, create things, believing that, so as long as private capital exists, believing that the reduction of inequality is the primary objective of the left is, according to Marx, wrong because it implicitly accepts the maintenance of unfair institutions that generate the inequality. So, what are they after? It is the destruction of the institutions themselves that is the ultimate objective of Marxism. It's not a bug, it's a feature.
It's amazing.
And that's
if you're a Democrat right now, if you just so happen to be a Democrat listening right now, you should be ashamed of yourself if you're going to vote for Joe Biden.
Because you're destroying the best experiment in freedom and liberty on the globe that is now into its third century. And that is what they can't have, Ken, the power be with the people. Nope. Because that means then that the authoritarian oligarchs cannot rule the roost.
Nope.
Well, there you go, folks. There's a happy note. You know what? How about
warm and fuzzy.
How about a little Jon Stewart owning some Stephen Colbert? That sounds like a lot more fun.
Yeah.
We'll do that, and we'll end on a high note of the 12 days of Christmas according to a couple of our favorite Canadians. All of that and more is up next on the Vic Porcelli Show. Tim Jones in the Big Chair with Ken here at 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL, my brothers.
For podcast articles and more, find us on NewstalkSTL.com. You're listening to the Vic Porcelli Show.
Most Americans are a $400 unexpected expense away from bankruptcy.
That's Bidenomics in action.
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL. Columbo and Katie.
Friday, Tony and I have put together an awesome New Year's Eve special for you, but we'll also talk politics, specifically John Fetterman arguing that TikTok is warping young people's views on Israel.
Weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
When storms come by, whether it be a summer storm with thunder and lightning and high winds, also, winter storms, let's not forget how heavy snow is. And if you got a bunch of snow on your roof, it could cause some damage. Now, I'm not going to be the one to tell you that you may need some repairs or a new roof, but the Connors will tell you whether you do or you don't. And that's the good news, because you can't trust somebody who's going to, of course, just say, oh, yeah, you need a new roof. Pay me all this money and we'll give you a new roof. The Connors will give you an honest estimate on exactly what's wrong. Or if nothing's wrong with your roof, they'll let you know that too. Quality work, always. Another great thing about Connor Roofing, no subcontractors, all in-house crews. They also concentrate on residential roofing and repairs, so they're not going to split and do some commercial job. Senior citizen and veterans discounts, emergency storm repairs available at Connor Roofing. Go to connorroofing.com. Call them at 314-375-7475 or connerroofing.com.
The Right Mind Show with Todd Showalter.
Hi, it's Todd Showalter from The Right Mind Show, where we put the fun in our dysfunctional world. And there's nothing more dysfunctional than the holidays. Crowded malls, drunk relatives, and of course, course, the holiday fruitcake, who I refer to as my Uncle Bob. So join me and my buddy Joey B this Saturday, won't you? Hey, it's better than kissing Grandma under the mistletoe.
The Right Mind Show with Todd Showalter. Saturday evenings at 5 on News Talk STL. Brought to you this holiday by LiberalJoke.com.
Fox News commentary.
President Biden has a solution for his failing economy. The media should start pretending right along with him. I don't think so, Joe. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
Paid actor portrayal.
Life can be so unpredictable. After losing my dad, it made me think about my family if something were to happen to me. I had heard about life insurance through Ethos and how easy it was to get coverage. They were right. In 10 minutes, I was covered. And boom, family protected.
Ethos fast and easy online term life insurance up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com.
Bidenomics has failed so miserably that even Joe's own White House has stopped using the term. But if you thought Joe would take accountability for the disaster he has created and maintained, well, you don't know Joe. No, instead, he lectured reporters on how they are to blame. Over the weekend, our illustrious president was asked about the economic outlook of 2024, and in a few brief bumbling remarks outside of his presidential helicopter, Joe told reporters they need to, quote, start reporting it the right way. According to Joe, it's not the actual economy that's the problem, but rather it is the media's fault for not telling people who are struggling that they are actually not struggling. What a concept. It's not Joe's fault you can't afford your mortgage, but rather it's your lying eyes. And that right there, my friends, is Bidenomics, baby. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can watch my show, Tommy Lahren is Fearless, at Outkick.com.
Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. The Vic Porcelli Show.
It's not personal, son. It's strictly business.
On News Talk STL.
As our nation has seen for the past 3 years, the need for freedom and education has never been greater. And that is why, as your 47th president, I will fight for parents' rights and universal school choice in every state in America. And we will win. Countless studies have shown that school choice increases school accountability to the parents, and it leads to higher graduation rates, lower costs, higher test scores, safer classrooms, and greater parental involvement.
The best school choice ever.
Yep.
It will be.
It has to be, because that's, I think, what's going to happen is if we don't get a handle on this, it's over, because in Oregon, they've completely eliminated the grade system.
Yeah, we're almost 30 years too late, but we got to try to reverse the ship if we're going to save the land. Welcome back to the Vic Porcelli Show. Tim Jones in the big chair today. Ken, I cannot believe we did almost 2 hours of radio. Where the heck does the time go? This is such a blast being in here. We have such great programming. Our show goes this way. We always have so much left on the cutting room floor, but it's an honor, privilege, and pleasure to be here talking to all the Vic Heads this morning.
Yeah, it's always fun. Vic and I usually spend about a half an hour after the show sitting there talking about the things we couldn't talk about during the show. But it's been fun working with you, Tim, this year, and I look forward to next year.
We're literally looking forward to it. May it be a whoosh of a new year for all of us.
That's right.
So we're going to do 3 things. I wrote them down so I wouldn't get sidetracked, because as you know, I'm like squirrel, bouncing ball. We're going to do the chat box. We're going to do a little Jon Stewart from 2021. Listen to how right he was. Yeah, even some liberals get it correct every once in a while, like a broken clock twice a day. And then a little special 12 days of Christmas, because this is the 5th day of Christmas. Ken, we got a lot of people in the chat box. Yes, we do. Let's say hi to them. Don't we have chat box music or something like that?
Oh, here, I can grab something.
Don't we have we have some. There it is. Yeah. Woo! I love all the stuff you guys have. I wanted to come in here today and play with all the toys, and we ran out of time. I was going to play with the Wheel of Biden, and I was going to go careening.
Wheel of Biden.
I was going to go careening into the abyss, and I was going to sock 'em socky and all that stuff, you know. So here's one of my other favorite segments, saying hi to all of you Vic Heads out there. So we've got Linda, who says good morning to all of us and Happy New Year. Tom, is it? How have you decided to pronounce Mr. McNabb's? Or is that a lady? Gemmy? Gemmy?
I don't know.
Gemmy?
Yeah, maybe Gemmy.
Gemmy? That's a listener I'm not familiar with. Jamie? Yeah. So
they'll let us know.
Hello, McNabb.
Believe me.
Yeah. Hello, McFly. Hello to all y'all. Let's see who else we got on here. Alexander says, morning, my STL friends. Kristen, hello, Kristen. She says, Timmy. Nice to hear you this morning. Kristen, it's nice to hear from you. Thanks so much for chiming in. Kim is on here. Ken's, of course, chatting back with all y'all. Let's see. Kim's got a great comment here. My hope for the new year is a mass awakening of the masses, that everyone sees the abounding corruption and liberals remove their heads from their...
Mm-hmm.
Can I say that?
No, what, from their arse?
Their arses.
Right.
So if I do it like that, is it not an FCC violation?
I don't know. I didn't delay it. So
we got Paul on here. Let's see what Paul. Let's see. Let's see what's Paul got here. It's because he's going to stop whatever momentum they currently have. He'll stop it in its tracks. I think he's talking about what Trump was doing at the time he was elected. America thought it was so star-spangled awesome that it could try something different, something away from why we declared independence in the first place. Or maybe he was talking about when Barack Obama got elected. Yeah, as to why people...
the hope and change.
Oh, yeah, the hope and change. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, hello, all y'all Vic Heads. Thanks for joining us this morning. Honor and a privilege and a pleasure.
And we're on Rumble as well.
Oh, we're on Rumble, too, yes.
I want to check out, say hi to Ed Stoid.
Who's on Rumble?
Ed Stoid.
Ed Stoid.
I pledge allegiance to the United States. America. That's Vic always does. And then Cubist, Vicky, I want to say hi to them. DLW says drain the swamp. Let's see, DLW. Yeah, everybody else, they're talking about, basically what they're talking about is everything in response to what you and I have been talking about
in the last segment. Yeah.
Exactly, Tim.
Yeah. Folks, go to Rumble, go to Facebook, go to Twitter, go to all of them. Like us and follow us on everything, and then pick your favorite platform and chat with us on the chat boxes that are available to you there.
Yeah.
Download the app. Everybody's running around hither and yon this week, next week. Some people probably have next week off too. Download the app and just take us with you. You can Bluetooth it to Bluetooth speakers, to any kind of device. I got this new little portable speaker. It's called a Mega Boom. And I can just carry it around with me. It's one of those big cylinders,
Yeah.
And I can take it inside, outside if I'm in the garage. It's awesome. It's got great sound. And I can Bluetooth the app to it and listen to you guys in the morning.
Yeah, I have one of those too, and I strap it to my bicycle.
Yep.
And I'm going on the trails, those Greenway trails, and it's amazing.
Easy peasy.
Yeah.
Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, as my daughters say. Take us with you wherever you might go. Download our podcast wherever you get podcasts. Okay. Jon Stewart, circa spring 2021. Everyone is still completely freaked out, and the debate is raging as to how in the hell this all happened in the first place. And we were all saying, okay, so there's a lab in Wuhan that studies coronaviruses, and there was a viral coronavirus outbreak in Wuhan by the lab. Duh. And then our government was saying, oh, that's racist, and you can't say, not the Chinese. And then we learned Tony Fauci has a bunch of shell companies that he's running tens of millions of dollars through, Echo Health Alliance. This is not a conspiracy theory, folks. I don't have the tinfoil hat on because it's all freaking true. It's Tony Fauci, tens of millions of dollars, Echo Health Alliance, into the Wuhan lab, which is not a very safe lab. It's failed all kinds of protocols. And lo and behold, a coronavirus outbreak happens that patient 0 is in Wuhan, China.
Right.
And so Jon Stewart goes on Stephen Colbert's show to talk about the fact that science is, before he says this, he says, look, science is awesome, but science can also be destructive, which is why we always have to have, what Jon Stewart was calling for here was accountability. Here you go.
I think we owe a great debt of gratitude to science. Science has, in many ways, helped ease the suffering of this pandemic, which was more than likely caused by science.
Right there. Which was more than likely caused by science. Okay, yes.
And I love he's on Stephen Colbert.
He's on Colbert.
I love it.
Folks, pull up that clip and watch it. Colbert is like, he's sucking on a lemon and his sphincter is tightening all at the same time.
And he's trying constantly to interrupt him, like move him away from him. Please don't talk about this anymore.
Colbert's going, this is my buddy, this is my liberal buddy, John. I thought I was in a safe space.
Right.
I thought I'd have on Stewart tonight in March of 2021, and we would talk about everybody getting a vax and a mask and follow the protocols, and we can have a show. They're sitting there next to each other in March of 21 without masks on. So it's okay for us to do all this, but all you minions at home, you need to just sit and watch me in your Biden basement and vote for Joe Biden, and just celebrate the fact that we're all just tools of the state. Colbert goes much further. Or Stewart goes much further.
So, and that's kind of.
Hold on one second.
No. Not listen.
It's coffee. I wouldn't do that to you. I wouldn't do that to you. What do you mean by that? Do you mean like perhaps there's a chance that this was created in a lab? There's
a chance.
A chance?
Well, but
oh my
if there was
God.
evidence, I'd love to hear it.
There's
I just don't know.
a novel respiratory coronavirus overtaking Wuhan, China. What do? Oh, you know who we could ask? The Wuhan novel respiratory coronavirus lab. The disease is the same name as the lab. That's just a little too weird, don't you think? And then they ask the scientists, they're like, how did this... So wait a minute, you work at the Wuhan respiratory coronavirus lab. How did this happen? And they're like, a pangolin kissed a turtle. And you're like, no.
Ken, stop right there. Remember in the beginning? Oh, it was a bat. Oh, it was an ostrich.
It was a wet market.
Oh, it was a wet market. Because remember, folks, that was the theory. Oh, it was everything but. And Stewart's like, there's a lab down the street that has a sign on it that says Wuhan Institute of Coronaviruses. Oh, I wonder where the coronavirus came from.
And what'd they say about Trump when he called it the China virus?
Racist.
You are a racist, mister.
The Wuhan flu. Remember the Wuhan flu?
Yeah.
So Stewart goes on.
The name of your lab. If you look at the name. Look at the name. Let me see your business card. Show me your business card. Oh, I work at the coronavirus lab in Wuhan. Oh, because there's a coronavirus loose in Wuhan. How did that happen? Maybe a bat flew into the cloaca of a turkey and then it sneezed into my chili. And now we all have coronavirus. Like, come on. Okay.
Wait a second.
What about this?
So Colbert is like freaking out here and trying to shut him down. And Stewart's like, he's tripling down.
Yeah.
This is the third time. He's like, dude, do you not see this? It's so freaking obvious.
John.
Oh, my God. There's been an outbreak of chocolatey goodness near Hershey, Pennsylvania. What do you think happened? Like, oh, I don't know. Maybe a steam shovel mated with a cocoa bean. Or it's the chocolate factory. Maybe that's it.
That could be.
Stephen Colbert is not a professional. He could not combat that at all.
He didn't know what to do, Ken. Colbert, if you watch, Colbert's like, oh, crap, I've lost complete control of my own show.
Yeah.
And it's from one of my fellow liberals. And how right was John? You know, if one of us said what Jon Stewart just said, we would be marginalized. We'd be canceled. We would, I don't know, maybe removed from YouTube like we all were about 7 or 8 times.
And here's the lesson here.
But Jon Stewart said it on national television.
And this is what we need to take with us on this, Tim, from now on. Whenever anything like this ever happens, stand up, voice your opinion, no matter what kind of pushback you're going to get. You need to stand up and voice your opinion.
And Ken, how ridiculous is it that as of right now, December 29th, 2023, we still don't have a definitive report from the United States federal government definitively saying what we all know is true, what Jon Stewart knew back in March of 21, that the Wuhan coronavirus came from the Wuhan lab. You know why? Sorry. Sound like Vic now. You know why they can't say that, Ken? Because then, you know what the next thing is? We will then find out how involved our own government was in creating a global catastrophe.
Yeah, and the trades that the NIH made some money on their personal. What were those things they got the rights to?
Like the royalties and stuff?
The royalties, from certain
studies and experiments and
trademarked stuff.
Billions of dollars for COVID jabs that didn't work. Yeah. So there you have it, Ken. The world according to Jon Stewart and the origins of the Wuhan coronavirus.
Want to do this?
Watch it. What do you want to do now?
You want to do that?
What do we do? What?
12 days?
Yes. So anyway, the 12 days of Christmas, as I said, start on Christmas Day. Christmas Day is the first day of Christmas. And then you have the 12 days of Christmas afterwards that end up with Epiphany. So, Ken, you know this. You know this very well, right?
Yeah.
I know this very well. But I've realized the other day, a lot of younger generations have no idea who the McKenzie brothers were.
Right.
They were a famous duo, couple of real Canadians from Canada, who did all kinds of funny bits. And Ken, weren't they on like the precursor of Saturday Night Live? Like it was something called SCTV or something like
Something
that.
like that, yeah.
Like back in the day. And so they did this little tune, and let's play some of it now to put us back into the festive spirit as we head towards another holiday weekend.
By the way, that's me on the organ. You start. Okay.
On the first day of Christmas, my true love gave to me a beer.
On the second day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 2 turtlenecks
and a beer. Okay, good. On the third day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 3 French toasts,
2 turtlenecks,
and a beer.
Okay, that should be more there, right?
Where? Go.
Fourth day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 4 pounds of back bacon,
3 French toasts,
2 turtlenecks,
and a beer
in a tree. See, you need more.
On the fifth day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 5 golden toques,
4 pounds of back bacon,
3 French toasts,
2 turtlenecks,
and a beer
in a tree.
What's a toque? Is that like a hat
I don't
or something?
know.
It's like a hat
Christmas,
or something.
my true love gave to me
Maybe one of our listeners
6
know.
packs of 2 for
5 golden toques,
4 pounds of back
3
bacon,
French toasts,
2 turtlenecks,
and a beer
in a tree.
Okay. On the seventh day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 7 packs of smoke,
Nice gift. Oh, 6 packs of 2
5 golden toques,
4 pounds of back
3
bacon,
French toasts,
2 turtlenecks,
and a beer
in a tree.
Don't they skip a bunch here in a
This
second?
should just be the 2 days of Christmas. It's too hard for us.
Eighth day of Christmas, true love gave to me
8 comic books,
7 packs of smoke, 6 packs of 2 for 5.
They just lost track.
They just said, you know what?
The beer's empty. Oh, so
There
there's
you
the
go.
12 Days of Christmas. Was it Bob and Doug McKenzie?
I think so.
I think so. The McKenzie brothers. Check it out. It's fantastic. Vic, I almost called you Vic. You're like Vic. You and Vic are like the same person.
Nobody's like Vic.
Ken, it was a pleasure being here for Vic. Vic, thank you very much for letting me hang out in the big chair. Always a blast. Happy New Year, all y'all, and have a blessed 2024.
You as well, Tim. Happy New Year, sir.
Thank you.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on NewstalkSTL. For more information, visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Do you have a car sitting around you want to get rid of? Then here's a great idea. Donate your car and help veterans and their families. Yes, one fast call to the Veteran Car Donation Program and we'll come and remove your car for free. Fast, free towing, and 24-hour response. You can donate most cars, trucks, or SUVs in most conditions. The proceeds raised goes to help active military, veterans, and their families, and you get a tax deduction. All you need to do is make this free call. Get rid of that old car and help the vets. We make it easy. Make this free call now and book your fast and easy pickup. Call the Veteran Donation Program now. Donate your car and help veterans and their families. Operators are standing by. Here's the number.
800-925-1596. 800-925-1596. 800-925-1596. That's 800-925-1596.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewstalkSTL.com.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. Former President Trump's name will be on the ballot in the Golden State. Correspondent Ken Lorman with details.
In California, which has the largest number of delegates in the 2024 presidential contest, Mr. Trump was included on the certified list of candidates released Thursday for the state's March 5 primary. Secretary of State Shirley Weber, a Democrat, faced political pressure from many in her party to reject Mr. Trump's candidacy there. But Weber said she was guided by, quote, the rule of law, and indicated the proper venue to resolve ballot challenges was in the courts. Ken Lorman reporting.
Also at townhall.com, officials in Russia say The Russians have launched 122 missiles and dozens of drones against Ukrainian targets, killing at least 27 in what one Air Force official called the biggest aerial barrage of the war. Ukrainian officials say at least 144 people injured and an unknown number were buried under rubble during that roughly 18-hour onslaught. Correspondent Rita Foley reports on what to expect if you're driving today.
It's good news and not so good news if you're on the road today. Today's expected to be one of the most congested days on the road during this holiday season. Saturday's expected to be busier than usual, too. But gas is $3.12 a gallon today, says the AAA. That's about the same as this time last year.
And powerful surf rolling onto beaches on the west coast of Hawaii as a big swell generated by the stormy Pacific Ocean pushes towards shorelines. A high surf warning for parts of Northern California, waves up to 40 feet in some locations. The Dow hit 122 points, the Nasdaq up 101. More at townhall.com.
Donald Trump's indictment proves that saving America is not going to be easy. There are entrenched powers that are fighting this with everything they've got. They want to keep control over the country, the narrative, and the nation's money supply. Hi, I'm Lance Wallnau. I'm a news analyst, a Christian author, an evangelical leader. I speak to millions of people every week, people just like you. You see, what the elites are doing is using inflation and government handouts and now central bank digital currencies to determine how they're going to control America. And that's why I recommend all Christians start a gold IRA from the Birch Gold Group, because physical precious metals are one of the few ways you can maintain control over your own savings. To get a free info kit on gold IRAs, text the word FAITH to 989898. Birch Gold Group is the only gold company I trust. Get their free info kit and you'll see why a gold IRA can help you. There are no strings attached. Text the word FAITH to 989898, and you're going to be blessed by taking action right now.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Leah Hill with your first alert forecast. A little bit of light snow this morning that could cause some isolated slick spots on the roadways. Well, I don't expect this to be a problem for most as you head out for the drive. Do be cautious and take it slower, especially on those bridges and overpasses. Still expecting temperatures today to rise to about 41 degrees, turning clearer by the afternoon with some breaks in the cloud cover. In fact, after today, the rest of the week looks dry. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Discover little-known strategies that could be the difference between choosing the care you deserve or having someone else decide it for you. Get a free copy of Chris's book at serenityltc.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
At Consumer Cellular, you get the same exact coverage as the largest carriers, but for up to half the cost. Same thing, up to half the cost. Up to half the cost for the same thing. 50% the money for 100% the same thing. I hope I'm making myself clear. Consumer Cellular. When freedom calls, we're here to answer. Call us at 1-888-FREEDOM.
Half the cost savings based on cost of Consumer Cellular single-line 5GB data plan with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single-line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plan offered by T-Mobile and Verizon May 2023.
I'm Missouri Lieutenant Governor Mike Kehoe. This holiday season, remember to visit buymissouri.net to find Missouri-made products, manufacturers, and retailers near you. Purchasing goods and services closer to home supports our friends and neighbors by creating jobs and keeping our hard-earned dollars in the local economy. I encourage you to shop local every day, but especially during this holiday season. Visit buymissouri.net and follow @BuyMissouri on social media for more information.
Brought to you by the Missouri Lieutenant Governor's Office.
The Freedom Principle and News Talk STL invite you to a special St. Louis City Town Hall on Friday, January 12th at the Immaculate Heart of Mary Church. Join moderator Tim Jones and expert panelists for a crucial discussion, Building a Better, Safer St. Louis City. Learn what legislators are doing in Jefferson City to protect and build a safer community for all citizens. The St. Louis City Town Hall is free and open to the public. Visit freedomprinciplemO.org for more information.
This is what's happening.
Our economy is in a free fall.
The president can go on TV and say he's asked a serious question with serious allegations to back it up. He can scream, "Get off my lawn" all day long.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion. News Talk STL.
From the NYPD to the Secret Service to behind the microphone, taking the fight to the radical left and the putrid swamp. You're listening to the Dan Bongino Show. Here he is, Dan Bongino.
So, again, why does Biden lie about his business dealings with his son? Because he can, and he thinks it's funny. No one else would be able to get away with this. I mean, have you ever thought to yourself, I get into it with this, I did this interview, as I said in the opening of the show, with Tucker last night for my podcast, and we'll play some snippets of it on the radio next week. It'll air Monday and Tuesday and fall on the podcast channel on Rumble if you want to check it out. But we get into this at one point, this hypocrisy versus hierarchy thing we talk about all the time. Like, you don't see it the way the left does. The left genuinely doesn't care that you would never be able to get away with this. I mean, you understand the payments that came into the Biden family. You understand, obviously, because you're a smarter crowd than the liberal morons that sometimes listen to the show and send me all their nasty comments. It wasn't thousands of dollars, hundreds of dollars. It was millions of dollars shuttled through these various Biden-associated and affiliated businesses. According to Hunter Biden himself, who said in his own words yesterday about how terrible he was with his finances, they barely paid taxes on any of this. I mean, how do you really believe you would get away with that? What are you, crazy? You would be thrown in jail instantly. You would instantly be thrown in jail. But they don't care because it's hierarchy. When you're a collectivist jerkwad who believes in centralized power, what do you care about? Oh, I look like a hypocrite. I gave this example once, and Gorka listens to the show, Sebastian, my buddy, and he seemed to like it. Hold on, I always turn this fan off and it gets hot. I said, the communists that took over in Cuba, led by, revolutionary Che Guevara, who turned out to be a standard terrorist like everyone else. When they put people up against La Pared, the wall, and shot them, do you really think the parents of the dead who are like, hey, that sounds hypocritical. You guys are living the high life with your steaks and stuff while claiming you're socialists. You think they cared that it looked hypocritical? Reminds me of that line from 7 Days in Entebbe. Do we have that, Jim? Excuse me, I'm swallowed some coffee. That's, it's the coffee hour for me. There's this line.
10 revolutionaries.
Yeah. Wait, play it again.
One plumber is worth 10 revolutionaries.
That's one of the greatest scenes in a movie you will ever see about bull revolutionaries, BS revolutionaries. These kids with college campuses walking around with Che Guevara shirts on. Do you have any idea who these guys are? They were murderers. They were thugs. They were cheap thieves and losers who were eloquent when they spoke, and that was it. But one plumber, they're seen in the movie, it's a true story of the Entebbe hijacking when they took the plane to Entebbe. And the pilot of the plane, he was a plumber too. So they put him up in this hangar, all these hostages, and they're holding the pilot at gunpoint, and the toilet bowl backs up. So the pilot's fixing it. And he's looking up at this scumbag revolutionary air quotes, just took all these people hostage. And he looks up at him, and he's like, one plumber is worth, 10 revolutionaries. Like, you guys are just losers and morons.
Running water makes you free. Toilet makes you free. One plumber is worth 10 revolutionaries.
The revolutionary's mocking the pilot because he knows how to fix the toilet. What does this loser know what to do? Nothing. He's holding a guy at gunpoint because he read the Marx Engels reader. My point is these people don't care. Biden does not care. Him and his team are from the Obama mold. They are straight up revolutionaries. They don't give a damn about what you think. Not a little bit. Play, if you would, Jim. Cut 4. I want you to listen to this. I always bring the receipts on this show, man. I don't waste your time with stuff. We're combating something very difficult to fight right now. You're not fighting for the truth. No, we are, Dan. Biden's corrupt. Everybody knows that, folks. Biden's at 33% approval. We're fighting a perversive hierarchical ideology that doesn't care, has no attachment to the truth at all. You're not debating them. So why are we talking about this? You're debating the third party listening. I need you to understand that. You will never get through to the modern, progressive, secular, collectivist liberal. They care about power only, and they don't give a damn about what Joe Biden did or didn't do or how much he sold himself out in the White House and in the Senate. They don't care. So what's the point? The point is there's always a third party listening. I learned this running for office. It was one of the most valuable lessons I ever learned. I was debating a guy at the Maryland State County Fair up in Baltimore, Balmer, as they call it up there. And I'm debating this lady on school choice who's an obvious communist. She doesn't care about school choice. She doesn't give a damn about school choice at all. But I'm like going around. After 10 minutes with this crazy lunatic lady, I go back to the booth where I was handing out literature, palm cards and stuff. I vote for Dan Bongino, whatever. And I remember saying to one of my volunteers, I think this lady Dana was there with me, or Maria, and I said, what a waste of time that was. And 5 minutes later, a guy comes over, and he says, listen, man, I don't know who you are, but I listened to that whole thing. I promise you this happened. It's not like a liberal story. Liberals always make stuff up. My son was at Starbucks, and a guy came in and said, Trump's a Nazi. That didn't happen. These stories actually happened. The guy comes up, he goes, hey, I listened to that whole debate. He goes, I got to tell you, I'm kind of agnostic on the issue, but he goes, I thought you made good points. So you didn't lose your cool about the whole school choice thing. And I thought, that's it. We're not debating the libs. They're freaking crazy lunatics. You're debating the third person listening. That's what you're doing. That's why we play this. So to the third person listening, not to the liberal, because I get that there's nothing I'm going to say to you to prove that the oatmeal god in the White House is the most corrupt person to ever plant his ass in that seat at the Resolute desk in the Oval Office. I get that. You're beyond help. I understand. I get it. Yo comprendo, amigo. Hablo español un poquito. Okay? No, I do. I understand good. Hablo un poquito. I want you to listen to Ian Sams. Who's Ian Sams? Another one of these losers in the White House. He's a PR guy, is basically what he is. He's on CNN. This isn't a Fox News segment. And even CNN's kind of had enough of this. Why? Because they're doing journalism? No. Because Biden's at 33% approval. Lefties realize Biden can't possibly win re-election with these numbers, and they want him out. CNN's doing the Democrat Party a favor. They're not doing the truth a favor. But even they've had enough of this. I want you to listen to this, and listen to this guy at the end. He just glosses right over the question like nothing happened. Because why aren't they going to tell the truth about Biden's corruption? Because they don't have to. They think it's funny, and they don't care. Take a listen.
The president was not in business with his son, period. They're trying to make up all sorts of allegations and make up lies.
With respect, I'm not citing Jim Jordan here. I was in some of the White House press briefings where it was said explicitly the president did not talk to his son about business dealing. That is very clearly not the case, and I think the statement from the White House has changed and I think been a little bit more precise over the course of the last several months. It's what the president said on the campaign trail as well. I'm not saying this is like an impeachable offense or some grand indictment, but it is a fact that the president said one thing that ended up being not true.
Again, I dispute that's true. That is not true. The truth is that he wasn't in business with his son. The Republicans have been for years trying to make arguments.
Again, I'm not saying that he was in business with his son.
And over again, those have been refuted.
You see what I'm talking about? Why? What's the point? You have to keep hammering away, not to get through to this knucklehead, Ian Sandwich, or whatever the hell his name is. It doesn't matter. Ian Sandwich doesn't care. He's a PR flack. His job is to go out there on CNN, MSNBC, or any other dork television the liberals watch and just say, other kids did it. Yeah, but we have a check to Joe Biden, actually to Joe Biden, for $40,000, which is 10% of a check from China for $400,000. When the business partner said we kept 10% behind for the big guy. Other kids did it, bro. That was the other kids.
You're looking for.
Jim, that was beautiful. Perfect. Where's Guy? Guy, you'd be very proud. Jim, Guy's here from the podcast. If you don't watch the podcast, Guy is like obsessed with Star Wars. He still thinks Rogue One was a good movie. It wasn't. I'm sorry. I don't care what. But he just did a Star Wars drop. He did the Jedi mind trick. These are not the droids you're looking for. That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. That's Obi-Wan. I prefer Ben. Obi-Wan was a little complicated name for me when I was a kid. Ben. There's the Benster right there. He's like, these ain't the droids you're looking for. And the CNN guys goes, no, the droids are actually right here. Here's the catch. The Jedi mind trick doesn't actually work. You don't like that scene. These are not the droids you're looking for. And the guy thinks about it for a second. The stormtrooper, remember, Jim? It's your drop. You better know. And what does he say? He's like, these aren't the droids we're looking for. In this case, the stormtrooper's like, why'd you just say that, moron? These are obviously the droids we're looking for. That's what happened in the Joe Biden movie. He just, see? He has to inject some Star Wars knowledge, but he's right. The Jedi mind trick only works on the stupid and the weak-minded. That's a good point, Guy. And you in the audience, you're like, yeah, of course those are the droids we're looking for. Like, why is he saying that? What does he think, we're morons? This is Biden. It only works on the stupid. Here, Jim, Karine Jean-Pierre, Cloud 5. Here's Karine Jean-Pierre. Again, easily. I mean, it's not even close. Jim, are you changing your vote at all, Mike? I mean, worst press secretary easily in the history of the United States. How they keep this woman around is the worst personnel decision in the history of any organized corporation or government anywhere. There's never been someone less suited for a job than this woman. I mean, you're never going to find anyone who, it's like, you know when you go for a job and they ask you for KSAs? Your mic's open there. Knowledge, skills, and abilities. Karine Jean-Pierre had like negative knowledge, skills, and abilities. Like everything they asked her, she asked the wrong question. She answers, the woman has no attributes for this position whatsoever. Here's Karine Jean-Pierre, asked the exact same question. And again, it's the Jedi mind trick back. No, that was like other kids. These aren't the droids we're looking for. And everybody in the press room is like, okay, whatevs, man. Here, check this out.
There's no evidence. But there's no evidence. There is no evidence that the president has done wrongdoing. There's none. Absolutely none. None. And that is just a fact. You've heard it from Republicans themselves. So they're wasting their time. Instead of doing the work on behalf of the American people, they go after the president's family. That's a waste of time.
These aren't the droids you're looking for.
Wait, Obi-Wan was in the... How did you do that? I didn't know he was there. That's so weird. I didn't hear that at the end. Now he's getting crazy. Now he's trying to impress Guy. Jim and Guy are working behind my back with Star Wars stuff now. They're all, folks, it's an inside story. They're all mad at me because they all love Rogue One. I love Star Wars. It wasn't good. I'm sorry. It's not good. It's not good. Empire Strikes Back. That was it. That was the best movie. That was it. That's the best movie. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear any arguments. This is not open for debate. I'm sorry. I'm not a monarch here. This is the Bongino Army. I am just a member. I am not the general here. This is a constitutional republic show. We all have equal representation. I'll make an executive call. I'm issuing an executive order. Empire Strikes Rogue One was not good. I'm sorry. I didn't know Ben was in it, but he's right. These are not the droids. No, they are. No, they actually look like them. Is that R2D? Well, it looks like that's exactly the droid I'm looking for. This is why you read the New York Post yesterday. Biden's approval ratings at 33%, lowest since he took office. Stop saying we're not doing anything. I don't mean to sound like a jerk. I love you all. You're my homies and everything. Like, I love you guys. When I see you out there, and I'm part of something special here. I'm a big part. I got the microphone, but I'm just a part of it. There's Mark, there's Tucker, Sean, others out there too. But I mean it when I say this. Stop saying like we're not, nothing's happening. It is happening. Every day you are dropping this guy's approval lower and lower and lower, which is making him more and more desperate. Stop saying it's not doing anything. He was at 37% approval just a month ago. He's at 33 now. No one even thought he could go any lower. You did that. You did that. No time to take a victory lap, but it's not time to be down either. It's time to hit the gas pedal, even if you don't drive stick. Hit that gas pedal. All right, I got to take a break. As always, way over. Totally disrespecting the time clock, which is just a disgrace. We'll be right back.
Bongino.
Paid actor portrayal.
I didn't see it coming. Life can be so unpredictable. After losing my dad, it made me think about my family if something were to happen to me. The mortgage, car payments, and all the other bills. Even things like our annual summer vacation would be out of reach. I had heard about life insurance through Ethos and how easy it was to get coverage. They were right. I knew it was time to stop putting it off and get life insurance right now. I got on my computer and went to ethoslife.com. In just 10 minutes, I was covered. And boom, family protected. Thanks to Ethos, my family won't have to worry about the bills if the unpredictable happens to me.
Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's GETETHOS.com.
Dan Bongino.
So many ways to listen to News Talk STL.
Come join the conversation.
Enable our Alexa skill. Hey Alexa, play News Talk STL.
Welcome to News Talk STL, conservative talk radio for St. Louis.
Always streaming at newstalkstl.com or on your radio at 1019, 94.1, and 99.1 HD3. News Talk STL. News, analysis, and opinion. Welcome home.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. Doug and Safe Money Radio is on 3 times every weekend, but in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com or call 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233. Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
Hey, Tony Colombo here for Gutter Pros. When Christine and I bought our new house, we knew the gutters were an issue, and after meeting the Gutter Pros team, we knew that they were right for us. Gutter Pros is your all-in-one gutter service team that offers a variety of affordable solutions, and they even offer free estimates, so there's no cost to you to find out if they are right for your home, just like they were for ours. If you're having a problem with your gutters, contact the Gutter Pros now, because with Gutter Pros, water goes where they tell it to. Call them at 314-656-7195 or visit gutterpros.com.
Southern Armory, your hometown gun store. Come and be more than just a customer. Southern Armory, we carry the best guns, holsters, knives, magazines, ammunition, and even food storage. Special orders are welcome. Southern Armory, 1 mile east of 270 and 44, 9901 Watson Road, and southernarmory.com. That's southernarmory.com.
Whether you're purchasing your first firearm or adding to your collection at Southern Armory, you're more than a customer, you're part of the family. Follow Southern Armory on Facebook or at southernarmory.com.
Hi, I'm Rodney Wallner.
And I'm Jen Wallner with the Wallner Home Selling Team at Berkshire Hathaway.
Hey, Jen, how do you sell your home for top dollar?
That's easy. Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
What if I want a flexible commission plan?
Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
What's the best time to sell your home?
Right now, call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
For all your real estate needs, call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
That's 314-810-SOLD.
Welcome home to St. Louis's new choice
For conservative talk.
They always have great conversations.
News, analysis, and opinion.
It's absolutely unacceptable that they couldn't unequivocally state, yes, it violates their student code of conduct.
1,000 a day is a lot. Border Patrol agents tell us that they can't physically handle more than 5,000.
We do live in difficult times as a country, but that's actually what guides me to run and hopefully reunite this country.
1019 and 94.1.
My news station.
News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion. News Talk STL.
A provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Go to hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, and the process is 100% online. To start your free online visit, go to hims.com/joy. That's HIMS.com/JOY.
At Consumer Cellular, you get the same exact coverage as the largest carriers, but for up to half the cost. Same thing, up to half the cost. Up to half the cost for the same thing. 50% the money for 100% the same thing. I hope I'm making myself clear. Consumer Cellular. When freedom calls, we're here to answer. Call us at 1-888-FREEDOM.
Half the cost savings based on cost of Consumer Cellular single-line 5GB data plan with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single-line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plan offered by T-Mobile and Verizon May 2023.
A wise philosopher once said, do or do not. There is no try. The Dan Bongino Show.
You really. I want you to know, folks, Jim is sabotaging the show. Mike, please get rid of this guy immediately. He's sabotaging the show. He's trying to start another Pantera incident. It's not there. You can't make fetch happen. I just don't like Rogue One. Now, Jim B. and Maria both disagree. They're like, you're crazy. I've never disagreed with you before, but Rogue One was a great movie. I don't agree. I didn't like it. It's not terrible. I just didn't like it. Empire Strikes Back. You understand he's trying to start another incident. Westwood, you better get rid of this. He's trying to cost me my audience now. With Guy, they're working to sabotage the show. By the way, this is nothing close to the Pantera incident. I got like 500 emails after. I got like 10. But Maria and Jim B. were very mad at me. Jim B. said only Democrats don't like Rogue. Hey, I got a lot more, including the craziest thing I've ever heard on MSNBC. You know, Trump's going to shut the internet down with the Doomsday Book. Did you hear that, Jim? The Doomsday Book. I kid, of course. Jim's not. He just likes Rogue One. There's a big scandal on the show. You have no idea. I know you're a little jealous of it, TJ. Why don't you tell Teresa, send some Tommy Johns your way? They're awesome. Trust me. Thank me later. It's date night today. Jim's like, wait. We'll do the unfiltered unplugged show sometime. Be fun. What? What's the problem? I'm just telling you the truth. Friday night. You know I'm always in a good mood on Friday. Plus, it's Morgan Wallen Friday still. During the break, I'll be listening to this at Morgan Wallen. No, yes, this was an actual segment on MSNBC yesterday. Miles Taylor, who I thought was Miles Teller. I thought it was Rooster from Top Gun. I didn't even know. I was like, what the hell is Miles Teller doing on? I'm like, no, Taylor. I'm like, oh, really? Said Trump's going to shut the internet down if he's reelected. I'm like, really? Wow, I better save my files now.
Paid for by Christian Care Ministry.
So right now may be the perfect time for you to rethink how you pay for health care. And here's why. Not only is it open enrollment for a lot of people, it's also a time you can join MediShare and save even more than usual. For many families, switching to MediShare saves about $500 a month, which is a game changer for a lot of people. And what's more, they like it. MediShare has double the member satisfaction rate compared to health insurance. Double. MediShare is a proven thing, too, for over 30 years. It's a Christian community of more than 400,000 members. And here's the thing. If you join before December 30th and you mention the promo code SHARE, you'll get another 10% off all of 2024. That's 12 months of savings. So I'll give you the number here in a second, but call. You'll get a price within 2 minutes. And again, the deadline is December 30th. So call now. You'll save even more. Here's the number, 855-51-BIBLE. That's 855-51-BIBLE, 855-51-BIBLE.
Dan Bongino.
Are you paying too? With SRN News, I'm John Scott. Republican Ohio Governor Mike DeWine has broken from his party by vetoing a bill that sought to ban gender-affirming care from minors and transgender athletes' participation in girls' and women's sports. The GOP-dominated legislature in Ohio has enough power to override DeWine's veto. In consumer news, Smile Direct Club announcing it was shutting down its global operations and halting its teeth aligner treatments. That leaves existing Smile Direct Club customers with a lot of questions. They're is no more customer care support from the company, and there are few details about possible refunds available yet. On Wall Street, stocks are moving lower. The Dow is down 150 points, and the NASDAQ is 135 points in the red. This is SRN News.
Donald Trump's indictment proves that saving America is not going to be easy. There are entrenched powers that are fighting this with everything they've got. They want to keep control over the country, the narrative, and the nation's money supply. Hi, I'm Lance Wallnau. I'm a news analyst, a Christian author, an evangelical leader. I speak to millions of people every week, people just like you. You see, what the elites are doing is using inflation and government handouts and now central bank digital currencies to determine how they're going to control America. And that's why I recommend all Christians start a gold IRA from the Birch Gold Group, because physical precious metals are one of the few ways you can maintain control over your own savings. To get a free info kit on gold IRAs, text the word faith to 989898. Birch Gold Group is the only gold company I trust. Get their free info kit and you'll see why a gold IRA can help you. There are no strings attached. Text the word faith to 989898, and you're going to be blessed by taking action.
Conservative talk for St. Louis.
It's your patriotic right and duty.
The government needs to step up and do its job.
This is News Talk STL.
It's well-balanced conversation.
News, analysis, opinion. Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL.
That's what happens if you're a Republican and you're accused of lying to the FBI.
Mark McCloskey on fire.
What does the FBI do? The FBI lies to Congress. The Attorney General lies to Congress. The Director of Homeland Security lies to Congress. And then what happens? Nothing happens.
Mark McCloskey on fire.
Because as we all know now, the FBI, the DOJ have become nothing more than the enforcement arm of the leftist government.
Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL.
Is your family prepared for the financial burden of losing a loved one?
Are you aware of the cost of a funeral?
Benjamin Schaefer with Senior Memorial could help you qualify for lifetime permanent final expense insurance coverage with no medical exam required.
Just answer a few health questions, and once accepted, your rates never increase.
Do you have diabetes? High blood pressure?
Have you had a heart attack? A stroke?
No problem.
Benjamin Schaefer with Senior Memorial can help protect your legacy.
Call or text 314-866-8886. That's 314-866-8886.
To learn more about permanent lifetime final expense insurance coverage.
Benjamin Schaefer with Senior Memorial could help you qualify for immediate coverage by answering just a few health questions.
Call or text 314-866-8886. Or learn more at memorialplans.com. That's memorialplans.com.
Policies underwritten by Senior Life Insurance Company, not available in all states.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Tim and I are out, but Columbo and Katie will have their New Year's Eve extravaganza.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion. News Talk STL.
It's a new year filled with new possibilities. The Dan Bongino Show.
All right, you know the rule, right? The rule, it's kind of a general rule to enhance your social IQ and make your interactions with people a little more pleasant. I'm just going to give you a little one of these kind of social IQ tips. When you're out, people, if you're around someone who's citing their education all the time, they're probably a moron. They're probably not that bright, and they're using it as a defense mechanism. I've got a master's degree in classical literature. Well, okay, great. Like, why'd you have to tell me that? If it's appropriate for a conversation, fine. I mean, if I'm asking you for an analysis of Dante's Inferno, then yeah, okay. You say, well, I got a degree in classical literature. Okay, good. You may be appropriate. But if someone's citing their education to you, they're probably a moron. I say that because I have to for a second. So, and I'm asking for, again, I do this once in a while because I know you sound like a jerk when you say it. But when I was in school studying this stuff, and I'll just leave it at that, because the more you talk about it, the dumber you sound. They have these various defense mechanisms people engage in all the time. People have these, no one it's very hard for a human being to acknowledge their own faults and failures. It just is. So we put up these walls, and we have these various what's called defense mechanisms. You don't have to be a psychology graduate student to know that. But one of them is projection, where because you're so uncomfortable with what you're doing, you project those attributes onto someone else. It's almost like you carve it out of you and you plant it in someone else. You go, look, there it is. It reminds me of the Robert De Niro Awful Frankenstein movie. There's the cholera. Like, that's what they do. If I've ever seen a clip in my life of the Democrats, I jokingly call it the dipsy-do flipperoo theory. It's obviously a joke. It's meant to impart some humor on it. But whatever the Democrats are accusing you of doing, they're doing themselves. Perfect example, totally unintended. I didn't discuss it in the podcast today, but I'll bring it up here. Jim, did you see the story of this Charles McGonigal FBI guy convicted today or sentenced today? He's this FBI guy who was working the Trump-Russia case, who was, you know, I hate the word literally. I hate it. But he was literally just convicted of working with the Russians while working the case for Donald Trump. You can look the name up if you think I'm making this up, Libby's. Charles McGonigal. He was if this isn't the dipsy-do flipperoo theory, I've never seen it. It happens all the time. Whatever the Democrats accuse you of doing, they're doing. Think about the Trump impeachment for Ukraine. What did they impeach him for? You remember? It was a quid pro quo. He asked the Ukrainians for something, information in exchange for weapons. There was no such deal. Trump released the transcript. The quid pro quo was Hunter Biden getting hired by the Ukrainians in exchange for favors from the father, i.e., a quid pro quo, something for something. They always accuse you of exactly what they're doing. Matter of fact, I'm going to give you a little pointer. Once you know this little dipsy-do flipperoo thing they do, otherwise known as projection, if you want to sound more academic. I personally don't care about that stuff. Like I said, the more you try to sound academic, the more of a moron you typically sound like anyway. Just talk like a normal person. If you ever want to know what the next step the Democrats are going to make, just watch what they're accusing you of, because that's going to be where they fall next. So if someone were to come out, say, I'll just give you an example, next week, I'll make something up. Eric Trump colluded with the Saudis, like whatever. I'm just totally pulling that out of the air. I can guarantee you that Hunter Biden had some deal with the Saudis, and they're trying, right, Jim? That's what's going to happen. Because they know the media will run with the fake Trump story and ignore the Hunter Biden. There's a reason they do it. There's a tactical reason. Because they know the media are useful idiots, and they'll run with it. This is a perfect example of this. Jim, cue up for me, cut 6. So Miles Taylor, who I don't know who this guy is. He claims he was like some big shot DHS guy. Folks, I worked under DHS. I keep contact with a lot of higher ups. I knew a lot of people in the Trump administration. I've never heard of this guy. He keeps touting himself like he was some bigwig. I thought it was Rooster from Top Gun, or the Fantastic Four guy. No, Taylor, not Teller. Oh, it's not the actor? I had to ask this morning. I'm like, Miles Teller worked in the Trump. That's crazy. What, did he get into acting after that? That's so nuts. Like, was his dad Goose? Was that real? Like, Goose? This is Miles Taylor. Nobody knows who this guy is. But apparently, this guy who, by the way, almost no one in the Trump administration knows who this guy is. They know he worked there. But apparently, he was such a higher up, according to himself, that no one seems to know him. It's incredible. I worked in the Secret Service. I can name every director since I was there. I mean, it's not hard. We had Mark Sullivan. We had Brian Stafford, Lou Merletti. Like, it wasn't hard. Everybody knew who they were. Who the hell is this guy? Is this Rooster? So Rooster's on MSNBC yesterday. This supposed higher up in the Trump administration, who I think wrote some book or something like that. Nobody knows who this guy is, but he has knowledge, folks, of the Doomsday Book. Don't laugh. I'm not making this is real. You're going to hear it yourself. It's not a joke. This is not Jim's dark web stuff. This is real. He goes on MSNBC in the worst case of projection I've ever seen. And he's all, I love the fake drama. It's so pathetic. They're such wannabes. They are. They're such, I call them high school Harrys. these guys who like never did anything in their lives and are always telling stories about in high school. Let me tell you something. In high school, I threw a football 300 yards. We get it, Uncle Rico. We get it. Sure you did. That's this guy. And they have to be dramatic because their lives are so worthless, they have to fake it. Like, let me tell you something. Listen, I'm going to play this clip for you, but I got to tee this up because it's hilarious. So Rooster goes on MSNBC and he's like, DHS has finally given me permission to talk about this. Now, I'm watching this clip, and I've seen this guy before. I know who he is. You know, he's not Rooster, but we'll call him Rooster, right? And I'm actually interested. I'm listening. I'm like, DHS gave him, really? They gave you permission? Like, so he says DHS gave him permission to talk about it, and he's all dramatic. He's like, the Doomsday Book. What? I'm listening to this like as a guy who used to work for DHS and actually has familiarity with continuity of government plans. I'm like, there's a Doomsday Book? Because like, and I'm absolutely convinced. And by the way, if there's a Doomsday Book, the DHS just gave you, Rooster, permission to go on national television and talk about it. No, to believe that no one in MSNBC, Jim, right, stopped him right there. Whoa, bro, Rooster, chill for a second. Get out of the F-16 or F-18, whatever. Take off the helmet. I know you were just in Top Gun and all. So there's a Doomsday Book that describes the end of the world, and DHS just gave you permission to out it on MSNBC. Nobody on MSNBC even thinks this is weird. They're like, oh, Doomsday Book, wow. So I'm like, now I'm like, when I hear that, I start laughing. I'm like, this is obviously going to be dumb, but let me hear what he's got to say. He said, there's a Doomsday Book, and Trump knows it. And he's going to shut the internet down. What? I said, Paula, save the files. Save them. The payroll now. Guy won't get paid. Guy's like, what? Guy's in the back of it right now. I don't work for free, but save the files right now. They're going to Trump's going to shut the internet down with the Doomsday Book. All right. I teased it up too. This is an actual cut on MSNBC. I swear to you, this is not a joke. Check this out.
What will happen in a second term? The biggest concerns for me are on the national security side. I think Americans still don't understand the full extent of the president's powers and things Donald Trump could do, bubble wrapped in legalese, that would be damaging to the republic. And one of those that I've noted is there's something in the White House called the Doomsday Book. And for the first time, DHS gave authorization for me to mention this publicly. And the fact that there are concerns that that book, which is supposed to be used to protect the country in instances of armed foreign invasion or rebellion, it's the president's most extraordinary powers, could be picked up by Trump and used for domestic political purposes. He could invoke powers we've never heard a president of the United States invoke, potentially to shut down companies or turn off the internet or deploy the U.S. military on U.S. soil.
Jim, come on.
Yes! Not real.
I mean, really. You know I'm protecting Tiffany from you working her too hard. You can't, dude, thank you, Tiffany, for saving us there. Folks, I'm just asking you for a second. Do I ever come on here and buff talk you? Hey, let me tell you the time I got into a gunfight with 47 guys in the tri-border region of South America with the Delta Force. Do I do that? No, I don't do that, right? Why? Because if it happened, you don't need to know. And second, who gives a damn? You don't need to know. Who cares? You like the commentary. I don't need to be a tough guy because tough guys don't talk about being tough guys because they're tough. They don't need to talk about it. What the hell is this guy talking about? There's a Doomsday Book to shut down businesses and the internet? Folks, there's no Doomsday Book. This is nonsense. There are plans. He's using this dramatic language, again, to engage in this projection mechanism to make you believe Donald Trump is going to be a dictator, when in fact the guy he loves and adores, Joe Biden, is acting like a dictator right now. Do you know what FCC just did to Elon and Starlink? I'm going to get to that. I got a lot of show left. The student loan illegal payments, the weaponization of government, the expansion in the NDAA of 702 to basically get hotels. Oh, yeah, that's coming soon, too. We got a big show left. What is this guy talking about? He's making this up. This guy went on the air. I want to see that. I want to see it. I want to see that. I want to see Miles Teller or Taylor, if Rooster or whatever the hell he calls himself. It's Miles Taylor. I kid. He's just such a dork, this guy. I want to see this guy produce evidence that the DHS, the actual Department of Homeland Security, gave him permission to speak about an end-of-the-world book on MSNBC. I'd like to see it. I want to see, come on the show, Rooster, and just answer that. Show me the email. We'd love to hear, because then I want to know who at DHS gave you permission to do that. This story doesn't even make sense. But you understand that making sense doesn't matter to the left? I didn't do business with my son. That doesn't make sense. The left believes it. Donald Trump got peed on by hookers in Russia, and there's a tape nobody's ever seen. The story's moronic. Lefties are like, yeah, it makes sense to me. Because they're idiots. Because you're total dipwads. You're just really stupid. Listen, man, I worked at Fox and for a long time. I still got a lot of friends over there. I'm telling you now, if you went on the air and said something like that, you better back that up. You don't have to like them. Like I said, I get it. I got friends there. I don't, I ain't getting into all that stuff. I got my own thing and they got theirs. I'm telling you right now, though, they had some editorial standards over there. Contrary to what the left says. You go on the air and say something like that, you better back that up. There's a doomsday book and they gave me like official permission to talk about it on the air. And by the way, Trump's going to shut the internet down. Has it ever occurred to Rooster? By the way, when he went on the air and said this, did it occur to him that Trump was already the president? So just to be clear, he already had the doomsday book. It's like he read this in Spider-Man versus Daredevil or something. Oh, look, the doomsday book. He read this in a comic and just went on the air that night. Trump was already president. So I don't understand. Jim, follow me here on this. So Trump was a dictator who was going to stay in power through a coup and yet enacted none of the doomsday book powers, even though you said it was the worst coup since Pearl Harbor. But he's going to do it next time. After 4 years of not doing it last time, when you said he was a dictator last time. And liberals are like, yeah, it makes sense to me. Of course, you're a moron. That's why it makes sense to you. Right. Good point. Folks, your stupidity on the left is offensive to me. It's offensive. I just don't like stupid people. It offends me. I need better political enemies, and you're not it. You're that dumb. I have never done, I'm telling you right now, I've never done a debate on TV, on Fox, Newsmax, or anywhere else. In the 10 years I was doing media hits on television and cable, where I've lost an argument to the left. There was one time I got caught, and I didn't know what I didn't know. There was one time debating Austin Goolsbee. He got me on Hannity on a Medicaid stipulation thing. He didn't really even get me. I lost that debate. I'm telling you. It's the only time in 10 years you ever will lose to a leftist. They are morons. They believe really stupid stuff. The doomsday book. Trump's going to shut down him. Rooster told you. Yeah, the doomsday book is next to the PP tape. Sitting right there. Idiots. Why are you guys so stupid on the left? Are you always this dumb? You really believe this? They gave this guy permission to out the doomsday book on MSNBC. Yeah, okay, sure. Jim, can you invite him on, Rooster? Send him a message. We'd love to talk about the doomsday book. Who exactly? Tell me we want to talk about who exactly gave him permission. Say Dan was worked at DHS. We'd like names, please. Okay? Watch. Let's see if he comes on. All right, I got to take a break. More in this next. We'll be right back.
Bongino.
What happens when an abortion-minded woman hears her baby's heartbeat on an ultrasound? Here's how a nurse describes the power of ultrasound.
When she saw the picture of her baby on ultrasound and saw that beating heart, it was a defining moment that just broke her. And she said, I just can't allow this baby to be killed, for her own words.
By letting a mother hear her baby's heartbeat and see her baby in the womb, she will choose life the majority of the time.
I cannot tell you how many times a baby's life is saved through ultrasound. It's just an incredible tool.
Preborn centers are one of the largest providers of free ultrasounds in the country. One ultrasound is just $28, or 5 ultrasounds are $140, and now through a match, your tax-deductible gift is double. Would you join me, Dan Bongino, in Preborn in rescuing babies?
To donate, dial pound 250 and say the keyword baby. That's pound 250 baby, or donate securely at preborn.com/Bongino. That's preborn.com/Bongino.
Dan Bongino.
This is just the start. I want to bring in the bookkeeper. I want to bring in other witnesses and whistleblowers.
News, analysis, opinion.
That's what needs to happen so the American people get the facts, get the truth.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Getting a new floor for your home can be intimidating and a little scary, but that's not the case when you go to Michael's Flooring Outlet. Katie here, and my mom and dad used Michael's, and they had a great experience. They've been a locally owned and operated family business for more than 30 years. You want variety? Michael's has carpet, hardwood, laminate, ceramic tile, luxury vinyl, natural stone, and many other options. Shop in-store at one of their 3 locations in Creve Coeur, Dardine Prairie, or St. Peters. Check out everything that Michael's has to offer at igotfloored.com.
Do I have a place for you folks as we head into these beautiful fall weather months? Espino's Mexican Grill. You can find them 24/7 at espinosmexicanbargrill.com, and you can find them 24/7, 365 at 17409 Chesterfield Airport Road, right in the heart of Chesterfield Valley, just off of Interstate 6440. Espino's Mexican Grill, nearly 2 decades in the business. I've been going there for years. They have a fantastic menu of authentic Mexican fare, not the typical stuff you get around town, and the coldest drinks around. Did I mention the margarita patio? That's what I call it, outside. Fantastic addition that Espino's put in several years ago. Espino's is a fresh alternative to the typical stuff you get. Once you go once, you'll be back many, many times. Check them out online, espinosmexicanbargrill.com, located at 17409 Chesterfield Airport Road. Best authentic Mexican fare and best coldest drinks around in town.
Contact Seavers JCB now to take advantage of Section 179 of the IRS tax code that may entitle you to deduct the full price of qualifying equipment purchased or financed during 2023. Add to that JCB's incredible end-of-the-year financing opportunities, cash incentives, and rebates. There's never been a better time to own a JCB. Call Seavers JCB before year-end tax savings and financing offers expire, or visit online at seaversjcb.com.
The Right Mind Show with Todd Showalter.
Hi, it's Todd Showalter from The Right Mind Show, where we put the fun in our dysfunctional world. And there's nothing more dysfunctional than the holidays. Crowded malls, drunk relatives, and of course, the holiday fruitcake, who I refer to as my Uncle Bob. So join me and my buddy Joey B this Saturday, won't you? Hey, it's better than kissing Grandma under the mistletoe.
The Right Mind Show with Todd Showalter. Saturday evenings at 5 on News Talk STL. Brought to you this holiday by LiberalJoke.com.
On the next
Larry Connors USA.
As we wrap up 2023, we look to 2024 and what the future holds, good, bad, and the ugly.
Larry Connors USA. Now weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion. News Talk STL.
2024 will be tumultuous. How will your hard-earned savings fare? You already see the impacts of inflation at the pump, the grocery store. The dollar continues to lose buying power quicker than wages can increase. How are you protecting your savings? Consider diversifying with gold from Birch Gold Group. For decades, gold has been the choice of investors and central banks to hedge against inflation. Now you can own it in a tax-sheltered IRA with the help of Birch Gold. Just text Bongino to 989898 and Birch Gold will send you a free info kit on gold. They'll help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into an IRA in gold without paying a penny out of pocket. With an A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau and thousands of satisfied customers, me included, you can trust Birch Gold too. Text Bongino to 989898 for your free info kit. Text Bongino to 989898 now. Performance may vary. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision. Message and data rates apply.
Bongino Golden Rule number 17. If you have to cite your education constantly, you're probably a moron. The Dan Bongino Show.
That's my favorite liner. That's why I tell Pete, that's my favorite. I love that liner. We got to play that one more often. I love that one. It's so true. You ever that guy, you're like at some party or something, and you're with your wife, and you don't know any of these people. It's like your wife's Christmas party or something. And there's that one annoying dude. I've got an MBA from Wharton, and I've got a MD, PhD. Bro, who cares? I asked you about who the Auburn quarterback was going to be. Why do you? I don't understand why you're telling me this. I don't really care. I'm not interested. If I want a stock tip, I'll ask you about your MBA. I don't really care. It's so stupid. I got an MBA. Great. Who cares? Does anybody care? Jim has never asked me, and I've never, hey, Jim, check this out. Like, who cares? Nobody cares. No one cares, including Paulus. You don't care either. Nobody cares. I hate that. By the way, I told you never to trust politicians. They all hate you, right? They do. They all hate you. You respect outcomes, not politicians. They're just tools. Do you see what happened with the NDAA? Well, stay tuned. Big show left. I'm sorry to keep plugging this interview I did with Tucker, but it's really good, and I'm proud of it, and I like Tucker. I have for a long time. Again, it'll air on my podcast channel. It's rumble.com/Bongino. That's my channel, along with my regular podcast. But we get into this last night, too, about Republicans. And he says the same thing I do, that basically they all hate you. But I ask him about my theory, and I think you're going to really like his answer. That Dan, why do you vote for Republicans then? Because I live in the real world, and I have two bad choices. I have Democrats who are the cause of all my problems, and Republicans who are not the solution to my problems. So if that's the best I've got, that's the best I've got. I don't live in utopia. I live in the real world. And that's the choices we have until we can clean up this primary process and start organizing around better candidates. But something happened. That's why I always tell you, like, well, the speaker's race, we got a more conservative speaker. Well, did we? I'm not really sure we did. A national defense bill passed yesterday, kind of sailed right through, too. And all of this woke stuff is still in the military budget. All this other crazy stuff about surveillance using hotels and Wi-Fi is in there. You're like, what? Yeah. More coming up next.
The Herzog Foundation is the vision of its founder, Stanley Herzog, and it exists to promote and accelerate the development of quality Christ-centered K-12 education.
Hi, this is Daryl Jones, president of the Herzog Foundation. We have an exciting new training opportunity available for public school and Christian school teachers. The Herzog Foundation Institute has partnered with the Bill of Rights Institute to offer 4 training events in 4 Missouri cities this year. These day-long professional development opportunities are best suited for middle and high school civics, government, U.S. history, and social studies teachers. Middle and high school teachers have a unique opportunity to strengthen civic knowledge and values for the next generation. We want to help teachers seize this opportunity.
Visit herzogfoundation.com/events to learn more and register for a Bill of Rights Institute training event near you. herzogfoundation.com/events. herzogfoundation.com/events.
At John David Jewelers, we invite you to enjoy the holidays with the ones you love. We look forward to servicing you in the new year. At John David Jewelers, we're in the business of making you look good.
In Frontenac, next to the Shack, or at johndavidjewelers.com.
It may be cold outside, but one of the best ways to warm up this winter is with a visit to Johnny's Hideout in High Ridge, Missouri. Located 10 minutes from 270 in Gravois, Johnny's is the go-to St. Louis sports bar and grill experience, featuring over 30 big TVs, full bar, excellent, awesome food, featuring the famous Johnny Dow's chicken wings, live music with local musicians, and a huge game room. Johnny's Hideout opens 7 days a week for lunch and dinner. Check out the Speaker of the House table on your next visit. More information, jhideout.com. That's jhideout.com. Johnny's Hideout in High Ridge.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed. Oh, yeah? Yeah, he's starting with the whoops. Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefontaine, KNBS Bowling Green. This is NewstalkSTL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewstalkSTL.com.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. Tens of thousands of Palestinians have streamed into a southern Gaza town as Israel expands its offensive in the center of where hospital officials say dozens have been killed.
Israel told residents of central Gaza to head south, but even as the displaced have poured in, the southern town of Rafah has not been spared. A strike Thursday evening destroyed a residential building, killing well over a dozen people, according to the media office of the nearby Al-Kuwaiti hospital. Israel blames the high death toll on Hamas, which it accuses of embedding inside the civilian population. I'm Karen Chamas.
Also at townhall.com, Maine's top election official disqualifies former President Trump from the state ballot in next year's presidential primary election. Bill Alexander has more.
Maine becomes the second state to bar the former president for his role in the January 6, 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol. Secretary of State Shannon Bellows, a Democrat, concluded that Trump, the frontrunner for the Republican nomination in 2024, incited an insurrection when he spread false claims about voter fraud in the 2020 election and then urged his supporters to march on the Capitol to stop lawmakers from certifying the vote. The decision came after a group of former Maine lawmakers said that Trump should be disqualified based on a provision of the U.S. Constitution. Bellows suspended her decision until the state Supreme Court can rule on the matter. Bill Alexander, Washington.
Republican Ohio Governor Mike DeWine has broken with his party by vetoing a bill that sought to ban sex change operations for minors and transgender athletes' participation in girls' and women's sports. The GOP-dominated legislature in the state does have enough power to override DeWine's veto. The Dow is down 83 points, the NASDAQ 100 points in the red. More on these stories at townhall.com.
In Dinesh D'Souza's new blockbuster movie, Police State exposes the government's plot to control MAGA conservatives.
These are anti-government.
We have freedom of religion and freedom of speech.
Violent extremists, and they must be dealt with.
MAGA Republicans threaten the very foundation of our republic.
Mass surveillance, censorship, and armed attacks. There's nowhere to hide.
FBI, we have an arrest warrant.
15 marked units on my property.
Military-styled soldiers pointing an automatic rifle at my head.
Are we becoming a police state? It may be the Russia other people grew up in, but not my America.
Directed by Dinesh D'Souza, Debbie D'Souza, and Bruce Shuley, Police State sounds the alarm.
What we need is a person, and then we go find out what crime you did. How did we give the state this kind of power?
Police State, they have their lists. Are you next?
If they're coming for me, they're coming for you.
Police State. Buy it or stream it now at salemnow.com. Salem Now.
This is Larry Connor's commentary on News Talk STL.
So we end 2023. I hope it was a good year for you and your family, but I'm sure many had trials and tribulations, maybe even the loss of loved ones. On the world stage, October 7, 2023, will be remembered in the sense of December 7 or 9/11. Even if you were not directly involved on any of those dates, you might feel the pain of others. At least you should feel their suffering. On our national stage, 2023 will be marked as the year that the open border policy allowed record numbers of illegals to enter our country. For the most part, we have no knowledge of what they plan on doing. The vast majority might just simply want to live a better life. But their unchecked numbers will destroy lives, incomes, schooling, medical resources for millions of Americans. But our main concern, how many children were brought in and sold for sex? How many illegal drugs will lead to more American deaths? How many terrorist acts will be committed? So it is my prayer 2024 will bring worldwide peace to every nation, city, home. But my prayer has to be balanced against what 2024 will reflect 1 year from now.
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL. This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD.
I'm always glad to have new sponsors, but I have turned some down. See, I only endorse clients if I believe in them. And I've been a spokesman for John Beal for 10 years. Through those years, listeners said they went with John Beal because they trusted me. And just recently, a woman named Mary wrote, "We got a John Beal roof based on your recommendation." Thank you, Mary, and all the others for calling John Beal. 1-800-NEW-ROOF, 1-800 new roof.
This is Christina Straight with Straight Realty reminding you why pay more than 4. In 2003, we had a dream to start a real estate company that would revolutionize the real estate market. Now, 20 years later, after navigating through the many market's ups and downs, we know exactly how to help you in this challenging time. I'm Christina Straight, owner Straight Realty. Don't give away your hard-earned equity. Give us a call today, 314-441-4444, 314-441-all-4s. And remember, why pay more than 4?
Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
Lit Cigar wins Best Smoking Lounge and Best Smoke Shop in the Riverfront Times Best of St. Louis listing for 2023. That is 2 years back-to-back. Lit Cigar Lounge and its new space in the district just off Highway 40 in Chesterfield. Lit is for men and women who enjoy great cigars, premium drinks. The website keeps you on top of special events, including live entertainment. LitSTL.com. LitSTL.com.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
Hey, good morning, everybody.
Live and local.
Welcome home. And whoosh, sitting in traffic, stuck in a jam, and being entertained by Vic and thunderstealing Ken.
This is News Talk STL. This hour of the Dan Bongino Show brought to you by STL FenceWorks, celebrating 50 years of industry-leading service for fence, deck, and leisure space solutions. Visit STLFenceWorks.com.
This is I cannot believe it. I just saw this a few minutes ago. The LA Dodgers, a working man's baseball team, came from Brooklyn, moved to LA, are still going forward with honoring these drag queen nuns, these sisters of perpetual stupidity or something, whose only purpose is to mock Christianity, apparently. That's why they use the drag queen nuns. Keep in mind, they could say drag queens, but drag queen nuns. They're still going forward, honoring this group tonight. Now, we do this occasionally. Some of you know where this is going. Jim, you can't laugh. You already know. We consider ourselves a public good. It's talk radio on open airwaves. So we feel an obligation to put out, like TED Talk kind of things, which are helpful to people.